Today, oh my goodness, we're gonna dive so deep into the Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. We're a little bit tired from reacting.
It's the Today of Todays.
It is the Today of Todays.
We have been up since what? 5 a.m. our time.
Yes.
Reacting.
Big day.
And compiling all of the information. There's so much information.
There's so much information, stuff that was not in the Switch 2 Direct that we were kind of getting after the fact. And there's a lot that came out afterwards. And I think that after we compile everything and really sit with everything that we've learned today, we can make a confident projection about how we're feeling about
this is, as we should say, we're recording this at 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Yes.
So there is more information that seems to be leaking out. Tomorrow the Treehouse Live starts.
Yes.
They're talking about, we have a new trailer on this chat feature. Check it out tomorrow. And I think that's kind of like one of the big takeaways of this Direct is just like their management of all of the information.
Yeah.
And there were some things that they chose to put in. There were some things they didn't have room to put in. I think there were some things they strategically chose not to put in there.
Right.
To kind of pull the wool over your eyes a little bit. Oh, don't worry about this. Oh, how much does Mario Kart cost? Don't worry about that.
Absolutely.
Just buy it.
We're going to go into all of that and more. And I think, again, come away with at least, a little bit of a deeper feeling of how we think this is, how we think it's going for them.
Yes.
Easy to just get kind of swept away by the initial reactions. Now's the time to really sit with it, dig into it a little bit more. And like you said, more information will be coming in the coming days and weeks, but at least we can have a more educated
Exactly. It's one thing to watch the thing live, and then it's another thing, 5 hours later to really look at every little detail that they've put out and come to an informed conclusion. So I think that's what we're going to try and do today. We're going to attempt. Yes?
You've said that it's been 5 hours, and I'm realizing that I've been up for 5 hours.
That means you've been up for 5 hours.
I've been up for 5 hours.
Yes. There's a lot you can do when you wake up at 5 in the morning. Let me tell you that. The sun's not up yet. Wow.
Yeah, when I came out of the room after
it was still dark.
We had finished reacting, I was like, oh, the sun is rising. It was ridiculous.
See?
Oh, boy.
There's a lot you can do. So we're going to structure this. We're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct. We're going to go through that in detail and talk about what was in there. Then we're going to spend some time talking about all the stuff that was not in the Direct.
Right.
The stuff that was in the Ask the Developers, stuff that was on a website, stuff that was in a press release, stuff that just showed up out of nowhere that we still don't know exactly what the original source is.
No, we try to make sure that all the sources are from Nintendo. Let's be sure.
We're not pulling nonsense out of nowhere.
No. Things that we put in here are all things that have been linked back to official sources.
Yes, and then we have a long list of things that we still don't know about. That are still on our minds that seem like they're pertinent details for a system that's launching in a couple months.
Right.
That hopefully we get sooner than later, but as of right now, we don't know.
Yes.
We just don't know.
But we'll ask the question, at least put it out there into the universe.
Yes.
And hopefully in the coming days and weeks, as we said, when more information rolls out, it will be answered.
I, for one, am very glad to have something tangible to talk about, because I know people are very excited about the possibility of what something can be. That there's just excitement because it can be anything. It could fulfill all of your dreams. It can make your life better. Everything's going to be better for me after tomorrow because I want to know about the Switch 2. Yeah. I prefer having something, I was like, okay, this is what it is.
Now you can actually react to facts.
Right. It's not just hypotheticals. It's not just rumors. It's not just speculation. It's like, okay, this is what it is. And this is what we are working with. And this is what I need to focus on right now.
Yeah, and then you can make a informed decision on how you feel about it based on these facts. Which is good, which is better than the sort of pie in the sky speculation stuff.
I know it's very exciting. Again, the what ifs, the possibilities are very exciting. Yeah. But that's just me. I just prefer having
more tangible.
I prefer to know and then go from there.
Yeah.
Right.
We can go into that in a little bit.
Yes.
But yes.
All right. Let's get into it all. But first, of course, we have a sponsor to shout out. This episode is sponsored by Notion.
Thank you.
My goodness. There are so many different kind of productivity tools that are out there. But a lot of them, when you're just working away at your computer, it's like, well, I'm going to this app and now I'm going to that app and it's not integrated with this app, so I need to copy paste and hope the formatting works. Notion just combines it all into one service that's easily accessible, easy to get all your information, easy to put it all together. They've got a great assistant that can help you out. So wonderful, especially for a project like this morning where we're just compiling this document on the fly and we have a hard deadline to record this podcast.
I was just gonna say, like, we have been prepping for many weeks leading up to this big Nintendo Direct. We've been prepping all of the videos that we had leading up to this, and with two people working away at different documents, you need something like Notion to like keep track of everything as new information gets shared and added. We have a place to put it all so that both people can see it. It's beautifully organized and it looks really nice, which is very important to me, not so important to you. But yeah, we really couldn't have done it without Notion, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's just two of us. Like, we started from home, we were each adding to it, then we came in and worked together. Is great.
Yeah.
So as they say, Notion combines your notes, docs, and projects into one space that's simple and beautifully designed, and you can leverage the power of the assistant right inside Notion across all your notes and docs without jumping between your work and a separate tool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really nice.
That's great stuff.
The key thing is the separate tool. It's all just in one place.
Right. So try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/KitandKrysta. That's all lowercase letters, notion.com/KitandKrysta, to try the powerful, easy to use Notion Assistant today. And when you use our link, you are supporting our show. That's notion.com/KitandKrysta.
I'll put the link right over here with the QR code so you can easily scan it, and also in the description below.
Check it out. Okay.
Okay, let's dig into this big, huge Nintendo Direct.
Yes, so we're gonna go through kind of chronologically how they presented it in the Direct. And we got a lot of information here. We don't need to analyze every single detail, but it's good to mention it. So started with a new intro animation, but otherwise this was a pretty traditional style of a Direct. In our predictions, I, at least for one, was saying if there was ever a time to go all out and make this feel like a big production, they didn't really do that here.
They didn't, yeah. Besides that cute new, I did like the new animation. It was very, very nice. But yeah, it definitely felt very much in the similar vein of a very kind of traditional Nintendo Direct. You have certain people hosting it, and you kind of go trailer to trailer to explanation.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't like really a big blowout event like we were maybe hoping for a little bit, but yeah.
We had 3 new and unusual hosts for this presentation. It was not Mr. Takahashi, it was not Mr. Koizumi, it was Koichi Kawamoto, who is the Switch 2 producer, Takahiro Dota, who's the Switch 2 director, and
do know him.
Tetsuya Sasaki, who was the hardware design lead on the Switch 2. Yes, so Mr. Dota is probably the one that we knew the most out of these. He is on the technical side of things. He was the technical lead for the last 2 Zelda games. He's a bona fide genius for making it happen with those games. And in the Ask the Developers, he talked about how he's been involved kind of in a launch capacity with a lot of different hardware from the beginning. So I thought it was interesting to give these 3 guys the stage since they have been really guiding and leading this project. Also interesting that we have some more lesser known developers getting a big role like this. Previously, these leads have been people we mostly know.
Right. Yeah, interesting to see that. Really, always enjoy seeing it directly from the people that are making the thing. But in terms of hosting a big sort of like, splash-worthy event, not sure if these 3 were really had the personality and the pizzazz to kind of stand up to that. No offense at all. These 3 seem very knowledgeable about the work they're doing, obviously, on the hardware. They seem to be obviously like super, genius level people, very personable. But yeah, it's a different skill set to host a big, reveal event like this. So yeah, that part I found a little bit like a teensy bit lackluster.
I agree. I would have preferred that there was kind of more of a person in a host role.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have a segment, and I think that kind of third chunk of it where they were talking about the system and the system features, that would have been great for these 3 guys to come in, talk about that.
Almost in an interview kind of conversation kind of way.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, these guys are not experienced presenters, and also having 3 of them is a kind of an awkward number of people painful to host because it's like,
Third
well,
wheel.
this guy's talking and I'm just standing here staring ahead, and it's just tough.
Yeah.
So I think this was an interesting choice, but maybe not the best choice.
I did like the very goofy, awkward moment where the guy in the middle was holding the Switch, and the two guys on the sides were like magnetizing the Joy-Con on. That's kind of
How many takes did they have to do with that?
I was gonna say that's kind of the physical embodiment of how a three-person presenter thing can feel a little bit clunky.
Yeah. I know.
Endearing in a bit of a way as well, I suppose.
I would like to speak with whoever is in charge of the wardrobe, because that man's jacket did not fit.
Kawamoto-san.
And we have seen people obsess over Reggie's shiny chin for months and months and months and maybe years.
His sleeves were too long for his arms.
Could somebody said, here, please take this jacket, it fits better, please.
Or like, let me bring in a tailor to like just pin it for
Exactly.
you. I'll pin the back.
Exactly. At a company
pin
where
up the sleeves.
every single detail is scrutinized until it's perfected, this did not pass the sniff test for me. This was like, huh? What's going on here?
They didn't have old Krysta here cutting a pocket square out of a Zelda scarf, unfortunately.
Exactly. There should be somebody to help him in that situation.
We need a fashion consultant.
Yes. So the launch date is June 5th.
Yeah.
Which is not May 15th, interestingly. It's not the same day that the Nintendo San
Who
Francisco
would have
stores.
Who would have thought?
I mean, madness.
Man, wow.
Did you know that this is one day before Summer Game Fest happens?
Well.
Are we going to Summer Game Fest now?
Oh.
Oh.
I didn't really think about it.
I
didn't know the date.
You're not playing four-dimensional chess like I am.
Well, we'll talk about it later. This is like
I'm asking you right now.
Kit and Krysta admin
no, I want to put you on the spot. Do you think we should still go if this system is launching the day before?
I don't know right now. I can't.
I need an answer right now.
I won't answer.
We must make our decision right now.
We won't. We will think about it when we're not running on 4 hours of sleep.
Did Jeff Keighley get tipped off about this?
He's probably so mad.
Did he? No. Did he say don't do it this day? Did somebody whisper to him? Don't do that.
No, he didn't. He doesn't know. Anyhow, so June 5th, it is in the June timeframe like we had been predicting, a bit earlier than what I thought. But yeah, it's great. Launching pretty
I think that's
soon.
a good day. I think it's especially great because I'm going on a vacation about exactly a month later. So
you have it to play
and I would like to do
like to play
no, I don't want to do what we need to do with this thing while it's out and we can
I
be
thought
together.
you were going to say I want to play it on the plane. I was like, well, that's nice.
I mean, I got plenty of things to play, but yes, that'll be nice. But to not have to
worry about it.
This is my own problem, but.
No, it'd be great. I'm glad to have you.
It is true that a lot of people at Nintendo, starting around the 4th of July, they take big vacations.
They do.
So I wonder if some Doug Bowser is like, oh, I've got
I'm getting on that boat on July 4th.
I'm going up to the Poconos starting July 1st.
Oh,
so
Poconos.
if you could do me a solid.
The Finger Lakes.
Nudge, nudge, Mr. Furukawa. And he's just like, be quiet.
Shut it.
The what?
Shut it.
The Poca what? How about Poca no?
Oh,
Doug?
no.
See?
Poor Doug.
So then we jumped into a very long overview of the new Mario Kart game, which is called Mario Kart World.
Yes, not 9.
No,
World.
not 9, not 10. Mario Kart World. I thought this game looked incredible.
Oh my gosh, beautiful.
Yes.
Now the graphics do shine.
It looked better. Was it just me, or did it actually look better than when we saw it in January?
It looked way better. I think it's because they chose moments where the lighting was really beautiful. You got a lot of like that bokeh reflection kind of stuff.
The skyboxes.
The skyboxes look really great.
Nice.
I mean, they definitely picked very impressive shots to show you, but I was impressed. I was really blown away by the look of this game.
The big hook of this game is the world element, where there's this kind of seamless world all around it,
like
where you're racing seamlessly across all these connected courses. As people were suggesting from the January little tidbit, there are up to 24 people racing at once, so it's a big race. They went through a couple different modes. There is the traditional Grand Prix mode, but even in this, you are driving to the next course. There's kind of a...
Is there a race element
That's what I'm wondering too.
Or is it like leisurely moseying to the next course?
I don't know.
All right.
Is there an option to skip that if you're just like, I've done this a million times, I just want to go to the next, I want to power through these races?
Or is there like little pickups along the way?
There has to be some incentive for you to do that.
My first thought too was like, how they, sort of have this open overview where it was, gosh, there must be a lot of like cool secrets, little Easter eggs kind of hidden throughout, that maybe that's the incentive for you to try to find all those as you're, going from one place to the next.
Right, or maybe it's like, oh, get your item that you'll have from the start of the next race.
Or if you do these things, you'll get a
or
little...
it decides the ordering of the start. That could be something.
The crown was back, I saw
You're going to be the first to get blue shelled because you won the little side race.
Okay,
So that's something we need to know a bit more.
Yeah, very interesting.
Then there is the knockout tour mode, which is really putting this kind of seamless ongoing race together. And it felt to me like some of these old arcade racing modes where in those you would have a timer and you would get eliminated if you did not, complete the part of the track within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
In this, it seems to be, looking at your rank, completing each of the tracks.
Right.
It goes from 24 down to a smaller number, and then ultimately you have a winner.
Right.
They said something here. I pulled this from the press release, and I want to ask you if this stands out to you. It says, back-to-back courses with no pit stops. Players are eliminated between courses. What are pit stops? Do you think that's a mechanic?
I think so. I think there's maybe a way for you to either refuel power. There's like some sort of power-up thing that is very interesting. We saw Mario eating a hamburger. We saw some stuff happening. So I wonder if there is... These pit stops give you...
There was...
like item boosts that you do not get in this knockout mode.
I did see something, there was like a fuel tank. Again, people pointed this out in January. There's something like a fuel tank.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, just pit stop just has some very specific connotations of like, you need to get your car ready to do the next leg.
Your car and yourself.
Of this race.
Right.
And we've seen that in artwork of previous Mario Kart games. You never had to do it though. So I actually think that would be, now I hope
like
that's
that.
actually something that you do. I think that could be a cool mechanic.
I feel like we'll find out all of this in the January.
Well, we can talk about it now.
April 17th.
Why do any of this then? Well, we'll find out on January 5th. We'll see you then. That's when our next episode will be.
You're cranky from waking
woke up at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
You're going to be cranky soon, too.
I'm not cranky at all.
You're
I
going to
feel
be cranky.
great. I feel great.
Pit stops, though.
Yeah,
And
I like
then
it.
there is this free roam driving mode where you just drive around.
I like this the best, I think.
And it said, discover new areas and routes. I wouldn't say I necessarily got a lot of examples of that from the footage, but I believe them. I think there are going to be a lot of secrets.
Yeah.
Routes, I mean, I guess you can really just slowly, methodically look at these courses and be like, oh, I can actually jump off of this and go some other way. That sounds great. And they were showing like, oh, do it with your friends and kind of leisurely hang out and take pictures. That sounds fun.
That sounds like really fun.
I think that sounds really fun, yes.
Yeah.
We did see what looked to be some new vehicle types when you were on different types of surfaces.
Right,
so there
like
was a snowmobile, a hovercraft, and something that looked more like an airplane versus the
like
glider.
Wings,
it actually had wings to it.
Right, I saw that.
Those were new. Some new driving mechanics. You can grind on rails. And you can do like driving on walls, kind of like
a wall jump.
Like the Titanfall wall running and jumping off.
Yeah.
Do you think, is anti-gravity completely out on this game?
I am willing to bet that it makes a return.
I was ready to say it's gone, but then I saw at the end there's a shot that kind of pulls out on one of the tracks, and it's like, well, that track is going at a kind of a weird angle.
I don't think they would take it out.
That could be anti-gravity.
Yeah, I don't think they're showing you every aspect of the tracks yet. But they're the grinding is interesting. It looks like you're getting those blue sparks when you're grinding, so that could be like
you get some speed off of those.
The speed boost,
right.
exactly.
Right.
The wall jumping is very interesting. It's almost like platforming Mario, 3D Mario, but while
you saw one where he jumped off the wall and up to a higher level.
Exactly.
I thought that
was pretty cool.
That looked great.
Yeah.
There were some new characters. And actually, in the key art, you can look very clearly and see a ton of new characters. Just a few that stood out to us. The Hammer Brother, the Moo Moo Meadows cow.
I love the Moo Moo Meadows cow.
How did they choose that?
I have a lot of questions.
If they're including that, they better include some more standard fare before the cow. I mean, the cow's great, but...
I have some questions.
We also have Charge and Chuck. Goomba.
Okay.
Goomba don't have arms.
I was going to say, how did that... Little feet.
Use the mouth?
Driving with his feet.
That's dangerous. You shouldn't do that.
Goomba feet.
You shouldn't do that. Is that how you drive?
No.
Is that what can actually reach the wheel when you're driving? But it seems to be a really big selection.
Yeah, big roster.
Did you notice any non-Mario?
I did not.
Because there was one scene where you saw the character from the back, and I thought, oh, that's the Animal Crossing villager. But it's actually
Mario without a hat.
hatless Mario.
But why was he without a hat?
Well, there's a lot of costumes that it seems.
I have a lot of questions
So-
about the hatless Mario.
So they showed this, I'm assuming this is a new item, the hamburger.
Yeah.
And when you use or eat the hamburger, every character transformed into a different costume.
Okay.
But I don't really know yet what that does for you.
Right. I don't know.
Do you have any theories or ideas?
Does it like make you lighter, or does it give you another
don't know.
speed boost, or do
There
you
must
get
be
more-
some reason.
There's got to be some advantage, right?
Yeah.
That you get. I do like that he eats a hamburger. That's very Miyamoto-esque.
Exactly.
It's very cute.
We saw that there are multiple costumes per character. I thought they looked nice.
Yeah.
You said, "What's up with hatless Mario?" Why are you saying that?
I don't know. I just thought it was weird that they kept taking his hat.
Does he have to wear a hat every day, all day, every day?
That's part
Let
of
him live his life.
Part of his identity.
He's
Did you-
iconic with or without the hat.
Did you
Yeah.
like Hot Pants Peach?
No comment.
Oh.
They talked about there will be day and night cycles and weather effects.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see, like,
There are some tracks that had like Neo Bowser Stadium had like the rain stuff.
Well, yes,
So this
but
could
my
be
question is, does
similar to
this
that?
change, like, oh, it's less grippy now because it's raining?
Well, that's what that course is like.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. There are areas where there's water and it's very slippery.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't like that level, so I don't usually race that.
Well, that's what
I do not
there's
like-
like
I do not like
puddles and
Neo
stuff
Bowser
that
City.
makes.
Are you talking about puddles or just the road is wet?
I was like puzzles or puddles, like
I'm talking about if it's raining, if you're outside and it's raining,
okay.
is the road just wet and it's harder to do these turns? It's more
knows?
slippery. That's a
Maybe.
question I have. I want to get your opinion on this. Are some of these courses loosely based on real life
I
locations?
think so. That's kind of like in the vein of Mario Kart Tour. This one looks.
But those
very-
are just flat out like, this is the city.
This is the city. This one looks like fake San Francisco.
That one looks like fake San Francisco. This other one stood out to me. It says this looks like Mont Saint Michel, which is in France, which is where I'm going on my vacation. By the way.
Again, another Mount Saint Michel.
Yes, not just in
callback,
Castlevania.
Not just in
but
Castlevania.
look, if you look at this sign, it says something like Peach
Resort.
Resort.
Yeah.
So it's not France. It's Peach Resort. So I'm curious of like how they're handling the fantastical world of Mario
And like the real world.
and some
stuff.
things that are clearly inspired by the real world.
Right.
Do you? I prefer this to the we are in the real world place.
Yeah, I think loosely inspired is always fun. Like, okay, in that Disney movie, Big Hero 6, they have San Fran, Tokyo as the city, but it's like a city that's like a mix of San Francisco and Tokyo, which I thought was brilliant.
I haven't seen that
and
movie.
Creative.
Interesting.
So like if they're doing something like that, where they're like doing some mashups of real world stuff,
Yes.
like I think that's cool.
Yes. They are doing a dedicated Nintendo Direct on
Yes.
Mario Kart World on April 17th. That's very soon.
It's very soon.
That's really soon.
Continue
So
to react.
Some of these
and
questions. Oh, look, there's
analyze.
Nabbit right there. You see that?
Yes.
You're seeing all these
I don't like
characters
Nabbit.
there. I don't love Nabbit either. It is a launch game. It is the launch game.
It is the
This
launch
is
game.
the launch game.
Yeah.
Why'd you put that there? We're going to talk about that later.
What did I
Pricing?
put? Pricing. Oh yes. I
Yes,
just
we're
put
going
it
to come
there.
back to that.
Okay, we'll talk about pricing.
Then we got into this hardware overview where they
Yes.
went straight to the C button that they've been teasing the day
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
and
they
we
have
learned
it.
that the C button is the game chat button,
Right.
which is not what we had been theorizing.
I mean, well, it is. There is a camera that does also kind of play into this.
Right.
So it is one of those things where, yes, it does have sort of a accessories kind of spin to it. But yes, it is a chat functionality. It has a built-in mic, it looks like. And they had a long segment.
Too long, you could argue.
A little bit.
One might argue.
Maybe like 30 seconds too long.
This was too long, yes.
Of the different ways of which you can do this
Right.
and the different kind of functionality around this feature. Really got into some nitty-gritty stuff about like noise cancellation and all that jazz and screen sharing, and there's a lot of little bits in there. But my big takeaway from this entire like long segment is this is kind of like old news. Like chat features, screen sharing.
But this is done in a Nintendo way, Krysta.
okay, camera, having your little face
Which
on
is
a
to say it might
camera.
not work.
Yeah, exactly. So I did not come away with this like super impressed.
Yeah, there's
is
elements
my point.
of the Wii Speak, there's elements of the Wii U camera, there's little tidbits
Yeah.
of Nintendo's past here.
Actually, it was a little worrying for me when they used the phrase "together alone" because this was Mr. Iwata's sort of big brain.
Did they use that phrase exactly?
Oh, like a lot.
I thought they had a slightly different phrase, but okay.
They used that "together alone" phrase quite a bit, and then at the very end they had a tagline that was "all together, anytime, anywhere."
Right.
Which is their new Switch 2 tagline, I believe.
Yeah, let's see. In the press release, they were saying, this press release is so long.
It is so long.
Bringing new forms of game communication to life.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so again, my takeaway from this is, I'm not sure like how next gen really this feels, and also I just don't know personally how much I would use this feature. I'm not sure I would really be wanting to do this.
Well, let's talk about what this is. So,
Yeah.
so the system itself, the actual like tablet part of the system has this
a
built-in
microphone,
microphone. They talked a lot about how this works from a distance. It has noise
Yeah,
reduction.
sure, who
Fine. I mean,
cares?
I'll believe it when I see it. You can do game screen sharing. So you can do kind of like a Zoom view where it's like there's your game and then all your friends.
And it can be different games.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be the same game.
Right, it's like, oh, Krista's playing Pokemon. Let me just check in and see what she's doing. But it's so choppy.
I don't want anyone
This
to do
is
that
what
to me.
people, when we would see games at Nintendo over the video conference,
That's how choppy it was.
That's what it looked like.
I know, it was really
So it's like,
bad.
wow, this game looks incredible at 5 frames per second.
Even in like a very polished Nintendo
Yeah.
Direct.
I was surprised they put that in there,
It
actually.
looks that bad.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine how bad it's going to look in real life?
Especially if somebody, like, that's the best case scenario.
It's like someone's bad internet.
Somebody's on potato internet.
Right.
It's
And
not
also,
going to be good.
I was so, like, you asked me the other day, you were like, share your PS5 screen. I want to see you play Castlevania. And I was like, absolutely not. So embarrassing. I would never do that. That's
You might as well have just said, well, take me through the medicine cabinet in your bathroom right now.
Yeah, open your nightstand
show me
drawer.
what you got in there.
Nuh-uh. No
Show me
thanks.
what you got.
I don't want to. Like this does feel a little bit like ooh,
It's
this
invasive.
Is invasive.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And like okay, noise canceling, but you're gonna hear stuff in people's background. That's weird.
I don't believe that this is as good as they
They're gonna
are
there's
saying it's gonna
somebody's
be.
like someone's conversation. It's I don't know. It feels
Right.
weird.
What if your dog, not you? What if your dog farts? Is it going to pick up that? Not you. Again, not you. Your dog. It's definitely not you
Someone
farting.
is farting, and it's
Oh no,
gonna,
Chili! Oh no, Chili just farted.
someone is farting, and it's gonna pick it up. That's what it is.
It just gets more embarrassing.
It gets more embarrassing.
You can get a standalone camera. You have to buy that separately.
That does plug into the USB-C.
Yes. And there are some games that can use that in kind of like a green screen, kind of connecty way. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
You do need NSO for this, but it's going to be free until the end of March 2026.
Yeah, that's nice. You get like a bit of a half year-ish.
Sure.
Couple
Sure,
months,
sure.
I guess, of that.
And yeah, this is a very Mr. Iwata concept, and I think there's a book in particular that he read that he was very inspired by.
Right.
Talking about this concept of like, oh, it seems like families and kind of groups of people are headed in this direction, and we need to find ways to bring them
back together.
Bring them together.
And
So,
that is
yeah,
their tagline, all together.
They're very excited about this. I reading the Ask the Developer, which we'll talk about later, like they spent a long time talking about this. They're like, we love this. And
Interesting.
I am skeptical that this is that big of a deal, as big of a deal as they think it is.
Yeah, I would love to know what other people think, but that was my big takeaway was
Yeah.
I got a little bit, I don't know.
I think there are some games, like, so imagine we're playing like a Monster Hunter game. There's no Monster Hunter game on Switch 2 at the moment. But imagine we're doing that. Like,
Okay.
that seems like a game where it could be useful to see, oh, Krista's at the town. Or like, oh, let me show you how to do this thing
Okay.
really easily.
Sure.
I could see some examples, but as far as me doing this, like every time I'm sitting down to play, I don't think it's going to happen.
Right, yeah.
I want to be left alone. Let's be honest.
Yeah, even when you and I play Monster Hunter
Yeah.
together, we're very like, we will like get on a Discord call or something,
Right.
but it's not like we're like chatting like
Krysta, this is a camera on gameplay session. Can you turn on your camera, please?
butts in seats for this gameplay
Krista,
session.
we talked about this in our last one-on-one. I need your camera on if we're going to play.
No, you need to share your screen. No, I don't want to.
Can everybody see my screen?
My privacy. I think you're muted. Can you unmute, please?
We don't need to bring this into our fun game time.
Yeah. It does. And again, I just got this little like, oh no, this is Wii U era stuff. It's kind of, I kind of had that feeling like kind of superfluous.
Yeah.
A little bit detached from things that made the Switch so great, which is the simplicity of it being.
So consider
gameplay.
us a little skeptical.
We
of
are
this.
skeptical.
Then
yes,
they talked
we are
about this other idea. So the C button, what exactly does that do when you press that? Does that put you into... I'm still unclear what happens when you press the button.
Well, I guess there's a trailer tomorrow. We're going to learn more about the C.
Anyways, game share is kind of a similar idea. And this one, I'm a little unclear on the exact execute. There's a lot of fine print on this.
Yeah.
So you can it's basically like on the DS, the, what exactly was it called?
Remote play?
It's basically one person has the game and you can beam the game to other people to do multiplayer.
That's cool. I like that. But there's a lot of like limitations.
Yes, and they talked about how you can do it between a Switch 2 and an original Switch.
Yeah, you saw the example where they had lots of different systems.
Get ready for some buts.
Oh, but the buts.
The games do require a software update to be compatible with this. So not out of the box, everything's going to do this. And if you are playing a Switch 2 game, you cannot share that to a Switch 1. The example, I think Clubhouse Games was the example that they used.
Yeah.
Very, low tech, low latency kind of experience.
Playing, like,
it's like we're playing chess, big deal. I don't need like the fast Twitch, 120 frames per second experience.
The slow game of Go
to play chess.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know. I think this is cool, but I need to know a little bit more of like how exactly they're going to support this.
Right. Cool in concept if it works well for all different types of games, but need more information.
Yes.
Yes.
Then we got a long overview of what the console is capable of.
Yep.
On the handheld itself, it has a 1080p handheld screen. It can support up to 120 frames per second. 4K capable. LCD screen, not OLED.
Right.
I think most people saw that
predicted,
coming.
Yep.
In terms of onboard memory, 256 gigabytes. They talked about how the reading and writing of data is faster because of the upgrades in the memory. So they even had like a side-by-side of load times of a Switch 1 game. Seemed like just inherently that's going to be a little bit faster, so that's cool.
Nice.
The dock has a fan. I don't know why I needed to know that, but it does.
Your dock will not explode.
We've partnered with the good people at Nyko to intercool your dock.
It will not light on fire on your entertainment stand.
They talked about the Joy-Con mouse. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
The new game cards are red.
Okay, very pretty.
And it uses these new micro SD Express cards, which are a little pricey.
Very pricey. Everything is pricey.
Everything is pricey,
We're going to
actually.
go into that in a little bit.
They showed off the new Pro Controller, which I will be glad to pick up. It has a headphone jack, which the Switch 1 Pro Controller does not, and also two buttons on the back.
That's nice.
GR and GL, which you can sort of program to do whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't really love back buttons because I feel like I
don't either.
accidentally press them sometimes.
Like the Steam Deck has a whole bunch of those. I never use those. I never use those because
yeah.
you can accidentally
push it.
hit those.
Yeah,
yes.
but I mean, Pro Controller is great.
Yes.
It's a great controller, so.
And then they showed this piece of software which is meant to really get you into the feel of what the system could do. It's called Switch 2 Welcome Tour, where you can sort of go inside the system in this very Astrobot-y feeling, like, oh, we're in the Switch 2.
But more boring, because it's like, learn about how a magnet works.
Right, that's the concept. But what you're actually doing in here felt very dry, where there's like a text pop-up.
Don't compare it to Astrobot, because Astrobot
No, I'm just talking about like you're going in the hardware. That's where the comparison ends.
Yeah, barely.
That's where the comparison ends.
And it's like very dry. It's like these like a pop-up notification, like, like read this box with text about how a magnet and an SL button works.
We let the engineers make a game. This is what they're excited about, a magnet.
Bruh. The worst part, though, is that it's paid. Where they have gone too far.
I'm speechless at this.
I thought for sure. I was like, oh great, a pack-in.
I mean,
awesome.
Right. It seemed perfect
Yeah.
for a pack-in for a number of reasons. A, it seems like a little light on content.
Yeah.
And then B, it's showing you how to use the mouse. It's got some mini games. Like there was a little mouse
Little
golf.
golf, like golf tabletop kind of golf.
Some very simple mini games that were in there.
Puzzly.
But yeah, this is paid. I don't think we know yet how much it is.
But any amount of money is too much money for this.
Like maybe if it's $10.
No.
And maybe if there's more than they showed. Maybe if there's more than they showed.
No. Unacceptable.
All right. Well, I look forward to you buying this day.
I won't be.
I think you might.
You have to.
I have to.
You have to share with me. You can loan it to me.
Yes, my virtual game card. I will loan it to you.
You can loan it to me.
Okay, so this was
iffy. I was in until they told me it was paid.
This was iffy. This was very iffy.
So out.
Very curious. Yeah, this is one of those things where I was like, if Mr. Iwata was still at the helm, would this be...
if Reggie was still there, he would have fought this.
Who would have been the voice of reason? Have been like, maybe we should just pack this little thing in.
It was Reggie. It would have been Reggie.
Maybe we should do this. Maybe we have to do this,
Reggie,
actually.
we needed you in this moment. Now we have to pay $10 for this.
Right.
Whatever.
Or more. Who knows?
Or more.
Who knows?
Oh, more? Yeah, I mean, this was weird. This was a weird decision.
Yes.
For me.
Then we heard about the Switch 2 Edition games, which was something that started to come out last week after that direct.
Right.
And they gave us a couple examples of what this is. So this is really like pretty significant expansions to original Switch games. This was actually more than I expected this to be.
Sure. Yeah, me too.
And this was one of the things which going into this I was most excited to see what it would be. So there is a Switch 2 edition of Mario Party Jamboree that just comes with again, it really feels like a true expansion.
Yeah, it's like truly, a lot of additional content beyond we up-res the graphics or something like that.
It adds mouse controls, voice controls, better rumble, they said. I'll believe that when I see it. Integrates the camera. There are now some new mini games that have kind of a Kinect-esque. This made me think of Super Nintendo World, where there are some things where you're doing things like this.
Totally.
And then some new and updated modes. So it does seem to be really playing heavy on the camera, which makes sense for a social game like that. I thought the implementations looked kind of fun. I'm not sure I'm going to be picking this up. I'm not the biggest Mario Party fan, but I thought I was like, yeah, there's a good amount of new stuff here.
Yeah, I think it was definitely interesting to see their take on these Switch 2 edition games, because there is this Mario Kart example. Later on, we'll have other examples like the Kirby example, like the Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild example. There seems to be sort of a larger range of what a Switch 2 edition game is.
Yes.
And there's sort of big and small things that are added to these enhanced versions. The Mario Kart example is probably the best
Mario
one.
Party.
I'm sorry, Mario Party example is probably the best one to show updated controls, and I like the idea of them putting the mouse stuff in here. I think that's an interesting way to implement that control scheme. But yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the stuff, the camera stuff, the voice controls, will I use that? Will it be enough to convince me to pay more for this edition? I don't know if the answer is definitively yes.
But if this is some part of your social routine with your friends of every Friday we get together and we play this, you're probably going to get this.
Yeah, sure.
And it's probably going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I get that.
Myself, though, maybe not. It's going to be out July 24th. And then we got a look at the enhanced versions of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And there's a lot of stuff here. There's actually a whole standalone video that includes a lot more information.
Right.
So this includes enhanced resolution and frame rates with HDR, which, I mean, frankly, this would have been enough for me.
I mean, it already looks so pretty.
Yes.
But yes, it can look prettier, I suppose.
The footage they put out, I thought it looked great.
It looks
beautiful. Sold. Faster load times, your save data carries over, and now you can have 2 save files per game.
Nice.
That's nice.
App?
There's a lot of stuff that you can do in the Switch app, which is what was previously the NSO app. It's going to get rebranded as the Switch app.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that they're building into this, which is interesting. So you can get voice navigation from the app when you are searching for shrines and Koroks. When you get to certain places in the map, you can get a voice memory, which is a little voiced story snippet from either Zelda or a couple other characters that they were teasing. You can share your Tears of the Kingdom auto builds with QR code. You can gift items with QR codes. You can edit your in-game photos. There was a whole kind of leaderboard thing where you can get these achievements. You get a daily bonus with some in-game effect that will kind of stick with you for the duration of the day. Track all of your amiibo. So honestly kind of a hodgepodgey sort of things that for people who have completed these games, I don't know how much use everybody's going to get out of these.
Yeah, what do you think about the Zelda Notes thing? Like, for me, it was a little bit of an odd kind of thing because it feels weird for me to take it off the device and have it on my phone.
Yeah, I don't know why some of this stuff couldn't be just in the game. Like the voice hints. Like, is there an option to just have these come out of the game? I would prefer that.
Yeah,
versus having to keep some app running,
navigation stuff,
and like make sure that I'm hearing that versus what I'm hearing from the game.
Yeah, I mean, the sharing stuff I get. Maybe you need a phone for that, but the idea of Nintendo doing a lot more of these mobile apps, like this one, the Nintendo Today stuff, like they got a lot of these mobile apps.
Well, we've had this app before, and we've seen kind of how these go, which is
not great.
Which is not great.
Not great.
So. I frankly don't see myself doing a ton of this. Like the one that I do like is the hints of when you're like searching for something and it's like, oh, a little bit closer this way. That could be potentially, or like, oh, it's above you. That could be kind of useful, but a lot of this stuff I don't really see myself using.
Yeah.
Like we know that when they were coming up with the DLC for Breath of the Wild, they kind of struggled to come up with
enough content.
What's enough to put in this to make it worthwhile? And obviously they had the big quest. But there was kind of that phase one of it that had stuff that felt a lot like this.
Exactly. So you're trying to like pad it.
That was very hodgepodgey, so I think that's what they're doing. But I don't know if they needed to do that.
People would have bought it.
They could have cut it off after the multiple save files with the enhanced graphics, the faster load times.
Yeah.
That could have been enough.
I think we're going to buy this game again.
So
It's
I don't
good.
know.
It's all good.
Maybe somebody said you need to come up with an idea to support this app because we're rebanding it and it's important. And Mr. Onion was like, yeah, whatever. Fine. There will be physical versions.
Okay.
These are the cases, by the way. What do you think of these cases?
They're kind of ugly.
They're longer.
I don't really like
the way they're taller, and they have a big chunk of red plastic on the top.
Yeah, it looks kind of like tacky to me.
I agree. I don't think they look quite as clean and sharp as original Switch cases, but maybe it'll grow on me when I see it in
Almost
person.
like a step back.
Yeah.
It looks like an older, kind of like older design. I don't know why.
The upgrades are going to, for these games, for these two Zelda games, these will be free upgrades for NSO members.
Right.
It's a little confusing because they have not said what the plan is for the others. So like Mario Party, they did not say that that's free.
Right. We don't. That's one of the open questions.
Right. So this is where it gets a little confusing of like, wait, who gets what and how do I get it?
How do I get it? And is it worth it for me to join NSO or for me to buy these standalone if they cost money?
And I assume that this is the high end tier of NSO. I am assuming.
Expansion
they said that?
Pass.
Okay.
They did say that. Yes.
Okay. These will be out on June 5th, so this is a launch thing.
Yeah.
Will you go back to Zelda because of these? How will you experience this?
I mean, it's free for me because I do have the NSO expansion pass, so I definitely will go and check it out to see how it looks. Breath of the Wild, I actually think I have more to do in that game than I do in Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom I played a lot more than Breath of the Wild, so maybe it's an excuse for me to go back to Breath of the Wild and do a few bits and bobs there, but not in a way where I feel like I'll be playing this long term again. It's more so I would go in and check it out.
Especially on launch day.
Yeah, I'll go in and check it out, look at it. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. But I don't see the stuff that they have talked about here hooking me back in for like many months.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll pop in and check it out and probably think, oh, that's nice. And then I'll come back to it when I actually have time to play.
Or never.
I probably will.
Right.
But
just like how you probably will beat Elden Ring, you probably will go back to Starboard
I played Breath of the Wild for many years
probably
ongoing.
Going to do all those other things.
So I think that's great. Let's move on. They're also shared that there are going to be some new amiibo. 4 new amiibo.
Tulin, my baby.
In fact, we have Tulin, Yunobo, Sidon, and Riju.
Yes.
Those will be nice additions. A lot of Zelda amiibo.
I really like the Tulin.
Those are going to be out on June 5th. There's one of these Switch 2 editions for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This looked great.
But this is also a true expansion.
Star-crossed world. Yes, this
Yeah.
is just like more levels and more stuff to do.
That's cool. I love this game.
They did not have the same level of detail for this and didn't say how you get it. Pokemon Legends ZA said enhanced. They really went there with this. Enhanced resolution and frame rate.
I looked very carefully at the windows to see.
To what?
Yeah, they didn't.
How many frames am I getting?
From which frames to which frames? Is it from like 2 to 10? Is it from like 460 to whatever?
Oh my gosh. And then Metroid Prime, so this is interesting.
Cool, yeah.
Adds mouse controls. Will you play this game with a mouse control?
I'd definitely try it.
I would love to try this.
I'd definitely try it, yeah.
And then 2 new enhanced visual options. One at 4K 60 with HDR, and then another at 1080, 120 frames, also with HDR.
It's a lot of frames.
I'm feeling like Metroid Prime 4 has kind of become a forgotten game between these last 2 directs.
I know.
It's like...
It's been a bit of an afterthought,
This is a big deal game that is kind of getting swept under the rug. I mean, this is a great... This makes me really happy that they're going to have this and that I can play this at the highest possible level on the Switch 2, but I want more information.
I was going to say, I still have a lot of questions. Like, the more I see of this game, the more like sort of little snippety, snippety, thank you. I was like, what's the word? Things they show me, the more questions I have about this game that remains unanswered.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd love to know more.
We still don't know the release date for this game.
I know. We don't know the release date for this game.
I hope that when the time comes, we will get a big, chunky overview, Metroid Direct.
Yeah, title direct for this.
It would just be a shame if we waited this long for this game and it just like kind of just came out one day, you know?
Yeah, that would be so sad.
I'd be annoyed if I was retro.
That would be really unfortunate.
That'd be a
that
bummer.
would be a missed opportunity.
Yeah, because it just feels like that's kind of what's happening now. This is the forgotten game.
It's like, oh yeah, and also Metroid. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then they showed off this new game, Drag and Drive, which was kind of a take on like robots playing wheelchair basketball that is entirely using the mouse, where you're kind of going
dual mouse
like this. Yes, dual mouse to move your
motion for shooting.
Your chair, doing a motion. It looked very much like a
Switch Sports.
We came up with this Switch Sports game and kind of rebranded it and gave it a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
I did not think this looked that good.
No. I did not either.
Then we got a long overview of third-party games. They kind of broke these into 2 chunks. I'll just read these names. Street Fighter 6, Hades 2, Split Fiction, that's a launch title. EAFC, Madden, Hogwarts Legacy, Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Hitman, Project 007, Bravely Default HD, and Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Pretty good selection.
Solid.
All of these are games, well, I guess Project 000 is not out yet for any platforms.
Yeah.
But all of these are things that we either knew about or already out for the most part.
Elden Ring.
Oh yes, that was the first one that they showed, Elden Ring. Excuse me.
And also the new FromSoft game.
Well, that's later.
Oh, you have that.
That was the last one later.
Okay.
Then it was interesting that they broke these up. They talked about Hyrule Warriors: The Age of Imprisonment, the new Hyrule Warriors game.
I'm excited about this one because I really liked Age of Calamity. I like how this one gives you more story into Tears of the Kingdom. I felt like I learned so much about Breath of the Wild story through Age of Calamity. So this seems like it's setting up for the same kind of thing with Tears of the Kingdom, and I really, really like that. So.
Right. They said one of their big call-outs was the story leading into Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So that's a really interesting thing.
Very interested in that.
There's a lot of material there for them to work with. So that's very cool. So it's launching this winter, which is always a vague. Is it this year? Is it next year?
Right.
They probably don't know yet, so they are purposely being a little bit vague about it.
And we were saying, like, with the power of the Switch 2 now, you won't have any issues with, like...
Yeah, the last game was a little chuggy.
Yeah, this one probably will be very flawless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, very flawless.
Hopefully.
Wow.
Hopefully.
And then we had a segment on Nintendo Switch Online where the big addition is GameCube.
Yes.
Which I did not expect to happen.
This leaked last night. I kind of saw something about it right when I was going to bed. You and I had always thought, like, gosh, GameCube, they could probably remaster a lot of these games and just charge people more for it. But sure, you can bring it here. That's fine. Obviously, having this as like a Nintendo Switch Online thing, you don't have to like do the work to remaster. You can just have these games available. It doesn't mean that you can never remaster one of these games. But it does make it a little bit.
They did say that these have sharper graphics.
Yeah, they did.
So again,
They did.
so again, the 3 games that they showed in detail were Zelda Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX.
Right.
So, I mean, we've been hearing about these Wind Waker and Twilight Princess remakes forever, and I just wonder, like, where does this put these?
Right.
Because if you have free with part of your subscription, if I just have access to this, and
Would you buy
it looks a little bit
remaster?
better.
Maybe not.
Am I going to drop? How much are these going to cost? $70 on something that's slightly different versus
Right.
I just have this.
Right.
I don't
right.
know. I don't know. Maybe we should have never believed that rumor in the first place.
Maybe it was just that.
You were the one who
a
was
baseless rumor.
You were the one who was spreading that, so you're to blame.
It's not me. I heard it from somebody else.
You were. Well, we all heard it from somebody else.
I heard it from somebody else.
Maybe you should keep your mouth shut.
I won't ever.
Other games that they were teasing were Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon Gale of Darkness, Mario Strikers, and Pokemon Coliseum.
GameCube Mario Strikers is base.
That's a good game.
It's such a good game.
That's a good game. This is nice. They showed that you can easily customize the controls within the app versus whatever nonsense we did with GoldenEye.
GoldenEye was not the great example of that.
Or you could just get the NSO GameCube controller that has a C button. It's got a C stick and a C button now.
Whoa.
Don't confuse it with the Z button. That's different.
Nubbin and button.
That's different. That is going to be available for you to get at launch, and the service will be available on June 5th.
Yeah, right.
Were they suggesting that those 3 games are at launch?
I think so.
Okay.
That's my understanding of it, at least. So yeah, the service.
To the best of my, are you on the witness stand? To the best of my recollection.
I swear to tell the truth. I don't know.
Put your hand on this copy of Ask Awada and swear.
I'll swear on the GameCube controller C button that I swear to tell the truth.
So that's a big addition. That's a major addition for NSO. I'm so curious of like how quickly they roll these out. What kind of third party? I mean, Soul Calibur 2 is there because the game has Link.
There's Link in it. Yeah.
If people don't know, that was on 3 platforms, and each platform had a different guest character.
That's right.
And Link. That's a great game. People should play that game.
That game is really good. Yeah.
After
I love
that,
these GameCube games. I can't wait to play them again.
yeah. This is
great.
a really nice addition.
Will you buy this GameCube controller?
No, I haven't bought any of these.
I don't think I
haven't
will
bought
either.
any of these
Yeah,
controllers.
I don't need the C button.
Are they going to resell you all these controllers now with a C button?
Oh no.
If people had bought, I haven't bought any of these, but if people had
Right.
bought the NSO controllers, like, oh, now you need a new NES, SNES, N64
Oh my gosh, with a C button?
with a C, but we added a C button, so you need it again.
Oh,
I could see
I
them.
don't think I want to do
I bet
that.
I bet they're working on that.
I don't want to do that.
I bet they are. They
don't
need
want
money
to.
and they want money. That's
They
the
don't
takeaway.
need money.
They want it.
They want
They
money. They don't
really-
need
they
money.
really want
they
money.
want money though.
Then we had the next run of third-party
this
games.
is very exciting.
I'll go through this. Deltarune 1 through 4.
So cute.
3 and 4 are not out yet.
That's right.
That's going to be a launch game.
Can't wait.
Borderlands 4, Civilization 7. You can use the mouse for that.
That's cool.
You can also upgrade if you have the game on Switch already. WWE 2K, NBA 2K, Survival Kids, and this is where calamity struck, and the stream froze.
Yeah, that was a shock. At first I thought it was me. That my
And I thought it was me too, and I was like, oh no, what happened?
You and I, you probably can see it in our reaction stream. We were trying to like play it off.
We were trying to play it cool for a minute.
And then we were both looking at our phones.
Yeah.
And then we were like,
Wait a minute, this thing is
And then I was just working off of audio.
You could still hear it, but it
could,
was
like-
frozen on that frame.
I heard the guy saying, Final Fantasy VII. I was like, okay, it's Cyberpunk. But you were saying, gosh, there was a couple other games that were in the midst of the frozen stream.
Yeah, so this game, Enter the Gungeon 2 and then Starseeker, like,
Yeah, I totally
the world just completely missed out
I
on
feel so
those.
bad for them.
That's a huge bummer for them. Yeah.
Unless you're rewatching it, over and over
Their big
again.
moment.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's rough.
And that's just, I guess this is a YouTube issue. It's not,
Must
I don't,
be.
if you're Nintendo, I don't know what you could have done to prevent
Oh, they're
that, but they're gonna,
very upset.
They're going to
though.
investigate this for the next 6 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
multiple reports have been written.
Thank goodness it came back, though. That would have been a true calamity if the rest of this direct you could not see and you could only hear. Can you imagine?
My heart was pounding.
Can
for
you
them.
imagine? This is
Like,
not what we needed at 6:30 in the morning.
My stomach just like sank. I was like, oh my god, what?
Man.
I gotta say, the only time I personally have ever seen Mr. Iwata truly angry.
Knock down a magazine rack?
Like, this is the only time that I could ever remember after all those years of working with him was when the stream froze during that E3 presentation.
Rest in peace is Ustream?
Ustream.
There's a reason they don't use Ustream anymore.
Yeah.
Does Ustream still exist? Maybe not.
I don't think so.
Maybe not.
But that was like the only time that I've ever seen him like that. So my immediate first thought was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be bad. This is a bad thing to happen during like your biggest stream of the year. You know, like all the other streams work fine.
Right.
Why does it have to be this one?
It's too popular. We need fewer people to watch.
Oh, jeez.
So, Survival Kids, Enter the Gungeon 2, Star Seeker, Cyberpunk, which includes the DLC.
Yes.
That's a launch title.
That's awesome.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. That's the version that has a little extra stuff. Star Wars Outlaws. Silksong.
Oh my god, this was like Nintendo's biggest troll to the world.
It was like a 3-second clip.
It was a 3-second clip and no launch date.
That's coming out this year.
2025.
Coming this year.
Yeah, no launch date though.
And then a big reveal of The Dusk Bloods, which is a new IP from Soft. That's a mouthful.
Yes.
Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big get.
Very much looks like a Soulsborne game.
It does, yeah.
But wow, that's a huge get for them.
Yeah, this one's coming out later though, 2026, right? I think this one was
this one is not. This one is not
but,
right away.
Obviously day one, because this looks very cool. I mean, it has like this, it definitely has a FromSoft signature. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, it had kind of like a Bloodborne meets a real life kind of look and feel to it.
Right,
you know,
right.
Bloodborne is exclusive to PlayStation. I wonder, is this going to be like the Bloodborne equivalent of like, oh, this is only forever on the Switch?
Or I do know, like Nintendo platform.
For a lot of From's IPs, the ownership is a little convoluted about who owns what. So I'm curious to learn more about this.
But it is a Miyazaki.
Yes,
produced game.
They called his name out.
They did call. I mean, I'm so here for it. I'm so here for this.
And this was a long trailer. This was
very
clearly
excited.
major news.
And it definitely had that like that signature kind of FromSoft feel. The trailer, the enemies, the gameplay, the look. It's just all of it was really like you can just tell. You know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Then we had a couple more first-party games to wrap things up. Kirby Air Riders, which is Sakurai's game.
Yeah,
not Kid Icarus. I'm a little sad about that.
We don't have to give up hope, though. It could still happen in the future.
That's what he's going to do next.
Yeah, it could still happen.
Have you ever played Kirby's Air Ride?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should bring that in and play that again.
It's a great game.
It's definitely a Sakurai game.
Very yes.
Yeah.
A little crunchy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That is coming
weird.
2025. So I'm assuming, is this entirely new? This is not a remake or some...
It doesn't seem like it.
A new Kirby Air Ride game.
It's a new Kirby Air Ride.
Okay, got it.
I think it's very cute.
For a minute, I was like, this is a Smash... This is one of those fake out trailers.
It wasn't. He's not making this.
I don't know. Well, the focus on Kirby, just kind of the way it looked like, you could tell that was like the Sakurai CG approach.
Yeah.
Like, this is... Part of me was just, this is a Smash.
Gonna zoom into Kirby's eye.
This is a Smash game.
And then you see the Smash logo.
Oh, man.
No.
Oh, man.
We can't do that again. It's too soon.
It's too soon.
It's too soon for all of us.
And then the big closer was this new Donkey Kong game.
Yeah.
3D platformer, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I like the name. So cute.
Using the new Donkey Kong design.
Right, with the little beady eyes.
It looked super expressive in this game. It looked great.
Yeah, I think they went through the trailer and Donkey Kong had over 50 different expressions.
Oh, really?
It was just...
Oh, that's cool.
Incredible how many different facial expressions you could just see in this trailer. It was incredible.
I'm so interested in the setting of this game because you saw called out many times this place called Ingot Isle, where it seems to take place. Donkey Kong starts in this mining outfit. He's got like a little miner's hat.
Yeah, he's wearing the little overalls.
Right, and in the press release, they describe it as a massive underground world.
Okay.
So it's a very different setting.
You do see a lot of digging.
Donkey Kong. The look was a little bit dark. I kind of wanted something a little more colorful because it's it's a little muted. It's a little more brown focused because you're underground.
If you're underground,
I guess that makes sense.
In the dirt, you know.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But kind of the big hook of this seems to be just all the ways that you can interact with the environment and just feel the power of Donkey Kong, which, as you know, I want to feel the power.
The digging, the throwing of the big rocks.
Yeah, I mean, you just like punch down and go into the ground.
And it just feels like it's very just like tactile.
Yes.
You know,
And you
I like that a lot.
break things off of the environment and throw them around or hit somebody with those.
Right. I like
rolling around.
Right.
They seem to have really captured the essence of what makes DK unique as a platforming character, which is great. There were a lot of little throwbacks to older Donkey Kong games. There was this level that we see here, this just straight up throwback
like 2D,
to Donkey Kong Country that was 2D. I love that. Mine carts, barrel blasting. We had this clip here with Espresso, the ostrich, who's one of the kind of animal friends. Where's Rambi, though?
Rambi.
Gotta have it.
Rambi's definitely here. Come on now.
And then they showed what I'm assuming are some of the main enemies from the game. There's this kind of orangutan-y guy with a tiny hat.
It's a very tiny,
Why is the hat so small?
Like a construction hat.
This one seemed to be maybe the main one, what kind of, is this a type of a monkey slash ape slash?
Oh, is it like a chimpanzee?
What is this? I don't know.
It looks like a chimpanzee.
Is he holding some sort of a crystal banana?
Yes.
A purple crystal banana.
He's wearing like a very fancy robe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there was this schmexy monkey woman of sorts.
Gold lipstick.
That.
Good choice.
Yes.
Good choice.
And
nice
also in
hair.
terms of characters, so no Diddy.
Not yet.
We did not see Diddy, and then he has this little rock friend on his shoulder.
He does.
This purple rock that has, it's just like a face, a cute little face.
But it has like a little mouth. It's like a. It's
yes.
Like it probably talks. Maybe it's like your little like guide or something.
I'm curious
like that.
about what that is.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Very cute.
It's very cute.
I like a
They can
rock.
definitely sell you one of those at a theme park to just sit on your shoulder as you
Like a
go
little
run around.
shoulder plush or
Yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah.
So this was the last thing that they closed with. This game is coming out on July 17th.
Yeah,
so
pretty soon.
about a month after. This is the 1-2 punch. We got Mario Kart and we got Donkey Kong.
Right.
I thought this game looked really good.
It did.
I'm really excited for this. I'm happy that we finally get a proper big Donkey Kong game after waiting for so long.
Right.
I think that between this and Mario Kart, like those first couple months are going to be really, really solid.
Yeah, it's going to carry you through. For sure. Yeah.
So they did finally, right before they wrapped up, said you can get the system on its own or you can get a launch bundle that includes a digital copy of Mario Kart World. And that was kind of it.
Right.
In terms of the launch day lineup for June 5th, this is what we got. Mario Kart World, Bravely Default HD, Street Fighter 6, Split Fiction, Hogwarts Legacy, Hitman World of Assassination, Yakuza 0, Director's Cut, Deltarune 1 through 4, Civ 7, Survival Kids, Cyberpunk 2077, Kinitsugami, Puyo Puyo Tetris, Rune Factory, Nobunaga's Ambition, Fast Fusion, Fortnite, Arcade Archives 2, Ridge Racer, and Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. What do you make of this launch lineup?
Pretty close to our prediction. You know, we always said that first party is always a little light at launch.
Yeah, so they have, what, 3 games, is it?
They have
Fast,
2 games.
They
right?
have Mario Kart and the
Welcome Tour.
And that, yeah, that's it.
2 games, yeah.
Okay.
And they usually do fill it out with mostly third-party stuff, which is what you see here. But I think it's pretty solid. Like, it definitely is a lot of games that you can choose from. I mean, it's a little bit different for us. We're not the normal, you know, we've played a lot of these games on other platforms, a lot of these third-party games, but a lot of people don't have the other platforms.
I guess we should say also the Switch 2 edition, like Zelda, and those couple other things are at
exactly.
launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is very much standing out to me that a lot of these games are not new.
Right.
A lot of these games, some of these games have been out for a couple years. So yeah, that does kind of come down to, have you played these games or not?
Have you played them on another platform? If not, this is great.
Okay, if you on day one, what are the 5 games that you would buy? You yourself.
Let's see. Obviously, Mario Kart World.
Are you getting Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer?
Yes, you want me to, so I will. Deltarune.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And that's where it falls off.
That's literally where it falls off. Because again, I've played all these games.
You should get Cyberpunk and play the DLC.
I can get
I'd like you to
Cyberpunk
do that.
and play the DLC.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've played. You know,
Fortnite?
we're gonna be playing Split Fiction, continue to play
You can
that.
pop off in Fortnite video chat. Are you kidding me? With the kids with the slurp juice?
It's like my worst nightmare.
Are you kidding me?
It's truly my worst
You have like a
nightmare.
slumber party. This like 11-year-old slumber party.
I'm having like a I want to throw up reaction right
No
now.
cap, Krysta.
No. I hate it. I hate all of that.
So you're having trouble getting to 5 games.
I'm having trouble getting to 5 games.
So
I
what
gotta
do you
be
say so
honest.
far? You said Mario Kart and what else?
I said
Deltarune. Yes.
Cyberpunk. You want me to get Fast Fusion.
So you seem to have a solid 3 games.
Yeah, what about you?
I'll do Mario Kart, Deltarune, and I'll get Welcome Tour, assuming it's like an affordable game. I don't know.
You have to get it so we can troll on it.
I mean, I'm curious. I am curious to see it.
You have to get it so we can rag on it.
I do like
That'd be
things like
funny.
that, where it's like, oh, let's show you the ins and outs of what this
I
thing
can't
can
wait
do.
to pay $20 to read about a magnet.
I have
Can't
to think
wait.
there's more to it than they showed.
I can't wait
I have to think.
for you to pay $10.
But yeah, I am kind of feeling that here. It's a little light on original third-party experiences. Oh, sorry, Fast Fusion.
Fast
That's from
Fusion.
Shinin. They do those,
You like those,
very like
yeah.
F-Zero-E racing games,
Right.
and they're always like really pushing
Ridge
the technical
Racer,
side of things.
Arcade
No, I'm not. No,
Archives.
I'm joking. Nobody's getting Arcade Archives Ridge
Why
Racer.
not?
No.
You have to get it.
No.
Rune Factory?
So no.
Finally play that Rune Factory?
I thought Ubisoft is usually very active at having some new game on day one. There are a lot of these rumors of like, well, maybe these dev kits went out a bit later than you thought, and it's like you kind of feel that here to some extent. I don't know.
Yeah, because I've played a lot of these games. I've played
Right.
Hogwarts Legacy, I've played Street Fighter, I've played Split Fiction, Yakuza 0, I've played, Cyberpunk you played, Kunitsigami I played. So yeah, it's like if you haven't played them because you didn't have a PS5 or whatever, then this is great for you.
Then that's great, but if you have, then I mean it's fine. Like we all have a limited amount of time that we can put into different games.
This is more like a psychological thing,
Yeah.
where you tell yourself this is worth my
for
money.
it to be worth it for me. Yes.
I have a big library right at launch. This is why it's worth it.
And you have the next month Donkey Kong and this big Mario Party expansion. So there is something on the kind of near horizon for you.
That's what you need to justify some of these things, right? For like, am I going to buy this thing, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
We polled our Patreon subscribers to find out how they would grade the Direct, and we're going to find that out in just a moment. But first, we have another sponsor to shout out. This episode is sponsored by the Opera GX web browser. Opera GX is on a mission to get people to break up with boring browsers and have fun while doing it. The message is simple. Opera GX is not for everybody, but if you game, it's time to stop browsing like a lame and get with a real one.
I love it. I love it. I like this a lot because of the customization.
Yes.
You know what I customized my browser with way before this Direct?
Elden Ring?
No.
Oh, what?
Deltarune.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
I had this already. Like as soon as I downloaded my
That's
Opera
cool.
GX browser.
Yes.
I immediately got like the Deltarune
Oh.
screensaver background, and I just had it.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I was so excited when that game got announced today. I was like, oh, I've been thinking about this already.
Nice,
you know?
nice.
So they do have a lot of really cool customizations beyond the just the look. You can customize so many things. Your keyboard sounds, your background music, your UI.
Yeah.
There's also like really deep things, like if you really want to get crunchy with like how much memory is my browser using? You can like look at all that info, which is kind of cool. But I'm not like as techie, so I'm like I don't really understand a lot of that stuff.
Right.
But you can really go deep if you wanted to.
Yeah. And they also have the GX Corner in the Opera GX browser, which is kind of dedicated to everything gaming, so you can find gaming deals, find out about new releases, track down some free games, and it's all in one place. So, again, versus just hunting things down at all these different sources, it's all there, super easy for you to stay plugged in, even while you might be doing other things on the browser. And it comes equipped with all the features you need to protect your privacy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So
important.
it has a built-in ad blocker, so you don't need to see any of that stuff. And this is great. It has a built-in VPN. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So you can just
great.
poof, vanish, do some free browsing as you would like, and come back when you're ready. So the very feature-rich browser that Opera GX has for you. So With the latest Opera GX facelift, our browser is more customizable than ever. Think deeper personalization, design updates, and an expanded universe of mods and modding options that put even more pixels under your control. This is browsing crafted to match your style and setup down to the smallest detail, making it completely yours. Get started with the Opera GX browser at operagx.gg/the Kit Krysta podcast.
I'll put the link right over here and also the QR code and also in the description below.
So as I was saying, we asked our Patreon subscribers to grade the Direct.
Yeah.
And after we hear from them, I want to hear if you want to upgrade or change,
Yes.
update your grade of the Direct. So 57% said A. 32 said B, 8% said C, 2% said D, and a lone 1% said F, failure. Rough. Let's dig into some comments. Tay120N64 said, this was a fantastic Direct, and I would easily vote S tier if y'all let me. The only real letdown of the whole thing was the pricing of the console and some of the games, but as that was not technically in the Direct, more on that soon, I got to feel joy unburdened by my budget for 60 solid minutes. That's a great way to look at it.
Great way of putting it.
And that's exactly how they wanted you to look at it.
I really wanted to like thumbs up this comment.
Unburdened joy. PS Switch said, I love what they showed, but the high price for most of the games killed it for me, and charging for what's basically a Switch 2 manual or tech demo is insane, but I'm not surprised. Ooh. John Frisha, tough judge here, says, I give it a C. I was pretty disappointed by all the third-party ports of games that already exist and the small handful of new games announced. Combined with the price tag and the alarmingly high price of Mario Kart, this feels a bit like Wii U again, except I think Switch 2 will sell way better than that.
Okay.
The Kegger says, Mario Kart was enough for an A+ for me, but I'm biased because I love Mario Kart. Everything else was an A. System seems great. Third-party support is beyond impressive, and the new DK game looks fantastic. Don't really understand how anyone could give this lower than an A, but that's just me. And then finally, Randy Brown says, the presentation was a little awkward, but the content was great. There were several surprises. I'm looking forward to buying upgrades for certain games. I hope they have lots of upgrades.
Yeah, yeah. So I started out with an A, kind of A minus.
You said A minus, I
said
think.
A minus.
In our stream this morning.
Yes.
You said A minus, and
You
I said B+.
plus.
Yes.
Would you like to change your grade?
No, I think I'm going to keep it there because, and again, I am grading this on what was in the Direct.
Exactly.
Like, we know a lot more now, but in terms of what was in there, I'm going B+. I have the same concerns that have been voiced about kind of the format of it all, certain segments that were a little bit long, but in terms of the actual game content that was shown, I'm very happy with that. You know, I think I'm a harder judger of these because I worked on Nintendo Direct and I kind of like had to have that like really hardcore critical eye of like, is this as perfect as it can be? And there were just a few things where it's like, I might have done that a little bit differently.
Yeah, I get that.
And again, we now know strategically they kept some information out, but in terms of what was in there, I'm sticking with my B+.
I think I'm sticking with the A minus too.
Okay.
I do feel like, I hear you when you say like, oh, some segments were a little long, like that guy's suit didn't fit and it was a little awkward having them three present. But I think the game saved them. Like that's kind of what I was there for to begin with, is to see what are the launch games, what are the first party launch games, what is it, what do those games look like? Are they going to be fun and exciting? And I think that those boxes were checked, like to beyond my expectations.
Right.
But yeah, and again, definitely judging only with the information shared in the Direct. I think overall, I have a different more
about the unveiling overall, maybe.
Yeah, the unveiling overall, I think I have a different impression and a bit of a different grade as well.
Yes. Okay, so let's get into our next chunk of info, which is what was not in the Direct. So
there was a lot of information not in there.
There were a lot of things that people were scrambling for right after, in the aftermath of this thing, because they just were not in there. And first and foremost, pricing.
Yeah.
And very interesting story here. So these are US prices, US dollars, USDs. For the system itself, that's $449. For the bundle that includes the digital Mario Kart, 449 games. Mario Kart World.
No, you just did it wrong. System $449. Bundle with Mario Kart $499.
Is that not what I said?
No, you said $449 for the system in the game. The Mario
$4.99.
the Mario Kart digital plus the system is $4.99.
Yes.
500 bones.
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting when you compare it. That standalone Mario Kart World is $79.99. This is
You can just say $80.
This is the most shocking thing out of potentially all of this information.
This is more shocking than charging money for a tech demo?
This is shocking, yes.
I mean,
$80,
I was definitely shocked.
$80 for this is shocking.
I was shocked.
Let's keep going and come back to this. Donkey Kong Bonanza is $69.99. Pro Controller is going to be $79.99. A pair of Joy-Con are $89.99. The camera will be $49. And if you want an extra dock, that's $109.
Holy
that fan
moly.
ain't cheap.
This is very expensive.
The systems are within the range of what I found to be
High end?
acceptable. It's a little higher, but it's still like, okay, I'm not getting crazy sticker shock here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually.
Because again, like most gaming hardware is these days relatively expensive.
Yeah, it's past the 500 range.
Right, like a PS5 is still, very expensive.
How much is like a top of the line Steam Deck these days?
Oh, that's well over $500.
Well over 500.
Yeah, that's well over $500. So again, like the Xbox Series S is the very, very low price option.
Yeah.
For
that
Xbox
one is like
here.
$300.
That's really cheap. Yeah,
compared to
that's an amazing bargain actually.
That's like, you should all get that.
when you compare it to what is now,
you get that and get your
and
Game
soon to be
Pass.
available.
Yeah.
I think we assumed that $70 was going to be the price point for most of these games.
Right, because we got that for Tears of the Kingdom last year.
Right. But $80 for Mario Kart is really something. Let's talk about this.
I need to wrap my head around this for sure. $80 for a Mario Kart.
So let's say you're Nintendo. We just sold 67 million copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. People want this.
Yeah.
And people want this a lot. And we just did an experiment 2 years ago with Tears of the Kingdom where we raised the price by $10 and we sold 20 million copies. So we made ourselves $200 million more by doing that.
Right.
And it didn't seem to like that tangibly hurt the sales.
Right.
How many more would we have sold if it was going to be
$80.
no, if Tears of the Kingdom was $60? Is it really that more? Or did we just make $200 million
Exactly.
out of thin air?
Exactly.
This is the kind of math that they're doing in their mind.
Absolutely.
But for
How
them,
much of pushing the limits
but for
here?
them to jump from 69 to 79 is a pretty unprecedented move.
It is.
And
This is a $30 increase from $50 games.
well, they're going to say, well, you can buy the bundle and get it for $50.
There you go.
What's the problem, Krysta?
You can do
What's
it.
the problem?
You can do that. You can do
The
that.
problem is, this is a limited time production through fall 2025 and available while supplies last.
There you go.
I don't know how many of these they're making.
Yeah. And then you'll be forced to buy the
And then you have no
expensive
choice
Mario
until it
Kart.
comes back for Black Friday. Until it comes for the end of
Oh
time.
yeah, that's true.
For
This
the
is
end
going
of
to be
time.
the new Black Friday
For the end
bundle.
of time.
Yeah.
I do think
yeah.
that this was an expensive game to make.
Yeah.
Like we did a whole video talking about like they have a high bar to clear if they're going to move people over from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to this. And I think they've actually done it. I think there is enough that is new in here.
Content-wise, yes.
It's like, oh, this is a big step ahead for Mario Kart.
Yeah, it definitely that
Right.
game definitely feels like, oh, you have like rethought about the
Yeah.
Mario Kart formula.
So there's maybe a little bit of like cognitive dissonance of like, wait, Mario Kart is a super expensive game for you to make? I thought you could kind of just churn these out, no big deal. It's like, no, actually, I think that was like a very intensive product for them to
But
create.
how many people are going to come to that conclusion? Do you think a lot of people will?
Well, this is the interesting thing. Is like sometimes you see something like this, you're like, oh, nobody's going to buy this, and it ends up like selling like crazy.
Right.
And sometimes there is. I tend to think that like people are going to be grumpy, but they're still going to buy it.
People like us will be grumpy
That
but
tends-
still buy it. But what about
I don't know.
the quote expanded
If you're buying,
audience?
if you're buying just one game, and you're like, well, I'm already going to be in the hole $600 to get everything I need for this, and while that game, I'm going to be playing that game for the duration of this system. Maybe,
True.
Yeah, I'm just going to get it.
8 years,
Yeah.
$10 a year.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about like, oh, people's entertainment budgets. Like, I think people rank their entertainment budgets pretty high in terms of like their personal
Yeah, I think so.
finances. Like, I think people are more willing. Again,
To
they may
spend.
not like it, but I think people are open to spending more on entertainment
Yeah.
than maybe they put on.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I do worry that like you basically price out a whole bunch of people.
Right.
You know that I
Yeah.
mean it is very expensive. Like think
Well, then
about it.
that's not due to Mario Kart. That's due to the system then.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, you're not. How much is $20 pricing somebody out if that's like the one game that they're going to get? So I don't think this is great, but I'm also not sure how much they're going to be hurt by this, and I think that sets a bad precedent. I'm for having a wider range of pricing if you use the lower end of that pricing too.
You gotta give people options.
So if something like a Clubhouse Games costs $20, but if the base is like, it's $70 and up, I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because not every game that's priced at $70
is worth
has that
$70.
much going into it to have the $70
It can't become
value.
the standard.
Right.
An $80 game can't become the standard.
Right. These companies need to use the full range of pricing options if they want to do something like this.
And I think especially it feels rough when you put it against all the other things you may want or need to buy right at launch.
Yeah.
Like you might want an extra set of Joy-Con.
Sure.
You might, if you are into the camera stuff, you might want that. You might, then you got to get the system. You might want to pick up some of those third-party games. Now you're looking at like a day one price tag of well over $1,500.
Yes.
And that's a significant amount of money.
I'm going to be interested to hear the official Q&A for this when they get asked. Why is this $80?
Yeah.
Are they going to have? They're going to have.
They're not.
They're going to have a fluff
answer.
They're going to have a fluff answer for this.
Well, what would you write for the answer for this?
I mean, it's probably exactly the same thing they had for Zelda.
Yeah.
Which is like, this is a premium experience and
There you
blah,
go.
blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
Something like that. And
Exactly.
this reflects the true value of the product.
Yeah. Game development is more expensive than ever.
Rockstar is just licking their lips at this. Like, how high can we price Grand Theft Auto?
This morning the ex Nintendo
$100. Here we go.
Nintendoers
Yeah.
chat was off the hook this morning, and I was talking to our good friend Joe.
Yes.
And we were both laughing because we were like, not in like a malicious way, but like a little bit like chuckling because it was like, oh gosh, if Mario Kart's at $80, Grand Theft Auto is going to be like north of 100.
Yeah. I do think
$100
that
is going to be a base price for that game.
I do think that could have some knock-on effect for not just them, but for other games in the future. Of like, well, they've set this precedent,
This is the industry standard
and
now.
pretty soon they'll have data of whether this hurts the game or not.
Right.
So it's like, well, now we're back into the 90s where these games were getting crazy prices.
It's like that same thing. It's the same concept as when there was so many complaints about Scarlet and Violet, and then it goes on to sell,
Exactly.
millions and millions
Exactly.
and millions. You're getting like self-validation.
Yeah, so I would love to say that yes, Nintendo's going to learn a hard lesson from this because nobody's going to buy it, but I don't think they will. I think people are going to begrudgingly buy this and love the game and play this game, and they'll also be like, guess what? We know that you played this game for 8 years straight.
Right.
If there was ever a game that was worth $20 more, this is probably the one.
Yeah, it's hard to swallow right now, but
Right.
I think
most
people will buy
Some
it.
of the things that they feel about why they did this, they can never say to your face.
Oh no.
They can never say those
will
things to
sound
your face
so bad
they
and
would
so
sound
greedy
Yes.
and so like awful
Yes.
corporate evil.
right. So think about that when you see the actual response, which is like, how do they actually feel about?
Yeah, of course
this?
they want to make the most money possible off of all of us. Of course they do. They're a business.
Yeah.
But yes, it was definitely a bit of a shock when we saw all the prices. And again, it's like sort of like looking at this. This is like your budget sheet right here.
Yeah.
Of how much everything will cost you, and it is a significant amount of
Yeah.
money.
I mean, they just like warp speed slammed into modern game development with this system.
Yeah.
Where we did that video the other day. It was like, all the changes that are coming to Nintendo, and it was like the escalating prices of modern game development.
Building that whole new development center.
And this is just like boom, right away in your face. Like, oh,
this is what it is
these
now.
games are a lot more risky to make. They're a lot more expensive to make, and you have to pass this. You have to find ways to recoup all this stuff.
Yeah.
So we need to resell you a Mario Party Connect. We need to find ways to. We need to sell you the ice cubes and a Joy-Con. Everything is going to cost
the
you.
The tech demo is going to cost you. The
Right.
enhanced versions
Yes.
may or may not
You need to
cost
buy
you.
this NES
You
controller
gotta
with the C button.
You got to subscribe
Yeah.
to all the things at the highest tier, $19.99, whatever.
Yeah.
you got to do all the things.
Right. So,
Yeah, so-
I think it's not a great precedent for the industry when it's always like, well, Nintendo's going to do things the right way, and they're going to show those other companies what they should be
boy.
doing. It's like, well, they're actually doing what the others are doing, and maybe worse.
Yeah.
In some cases.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a lot of people are going to have to like really make some hard decisions in terms of their budgets to see if they can afford
Yeah,
this.
it's like, when's Sony going to be like, yeah, guess what? The next
$800.
that interstellar, intergalactic, whatever that game is,
Yeah.
that's going to be $90.
That's going to be $90.
Yeah.
The next, PS6 is going to be,
I'm not even talking. I'm just talking about like, is this year? Is there some PS5 game that's like, oh yeah, we're starting at $80, and you can get the super crazy Uber Collector's Edition for $200. Buy it, sucker.
And somebody probably will buy it.
Yes,
Somebody will buy it.
That's the thing. It's like, what is the breaking point for all of this?
Yeah, and this game is Mario Kart 2 is one of those things where it's like, oh man, you do need your own copy of it too. Like I can't say to you like, hey,
game share?
Let's share a copy of Mario. That's not going to work. Like we both want to play this game like a lot.
That's going to be in their answer. Feel free to. We've added new value for you to game share with up to 4 players.
But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work for this. Yeah, so it's one of those things where you kind of like you're trapped into this, and you're gonna begrudgingly buy it no matter what, but you kind of feel like you're backed into a corner.
We're a bunch of addicts. We need our fix.
I need my carts, my beautiful carts.
So interestingly, the pricing elsewhere around the world, there is a very major difference in Japan, where we were a beneficiary of this ourselves when we went to Japan.
Yes.
The price difference due to the exchange rate, things for us going to Japan were very cheap.
Right.
So if you buy in Japan, you can get a version that is 50,000. Why don't you look up exactly what that comes to in terms of dollars? I think it's like 300. I think I saw that it was maybe like 360, 370.
50,000 yen to USD.
But that is a version that is the quote Japanese language system that is basically region locked.
Yeah, it's $333.
333.
Oh, the yen is going down again.
So that is basically region locked to Japan. But you can also buy a multilingual version for 69, basically 70,000 yen.
Let's see.
And what does that come out to? That's significantly higher.
466.
To 460, so it's basically the same price.
Basically the same price.
So
they got smart.
They do. I mean, there are some really challenging things happening in the world around pricing to the extent that people are even like, they're not going to announce the price today. They have to wait longer. Whether it's a tariff or the price of some component or something else. This is a very challenging problem for them, but it's mostly a hardware problem.
Right. Digital games, obviously, it's fine. Software is fine.
Right. The software
you don't have an issue
is
there.
less of an issue.
But yeah, to launch hardware this year with all the stuff going on, it is really tough. I mean, the Japanese yen has been weak for a while now, and I know that's an issue for them. Yeah, that's just
so
that's
they
an
needed
ongoing challenge.
They needed some way to not import the Japanese version, and it's like, oh, I've just saved $100. Aren't I smart?
Exactly.
So they're
combating that.
Stop that.
Yeah.
Really interesting stuff happening here, and it seemed like this is definitely one of those, as Reggie would call them, soft underbelly topics.
Oh, totally.
The pricing. So I'm sure the people that are doing the reports today at Nintendo have a big section on the pricing.
Sentiment.
On the pricing.
And what people are saying about the pricing.
Yes.
Which is notably really like the only sort of negativity coming out.
It's the main thing.
The main negativity.
It's the main thing.
Yeah. I would agree with that. It definitely. I mean, there's a reason why they omitted that from the presentation, from the direct, because they want you to get excited. They want you to lock into these games and be focused on that. And so they did that on purpose. And after the fact, when you're kind of coming down from that high and you're looking at all the stuff coming out around price and what other people are saying about it, that is where you do start to double think again about certain things.
So we've said that probably their stated goal as a company is like, let's surpass the sales of Nintendo Switch, and that feels almost impossible now based on this information.
Yeah.
With Mario Kart, I may be changing my projection. It's not we have to outsell Mario Kart 8.
It's how much more money
we
can we
need to make more money.
Yeah.
than Mario Kart
It's
8.
100% because they know that the outselling Mario Kart 8 might be
That's not gonna happen.
pretty tough for them,
Yeah.
if not
At
impossible.
$80, you will take some hit off of that.
But you will make more money.
And we don't yet have the booster course pack for Mario Kart World and all the skin pack and
There's so much more
let's
that they
find
can
out
charge
in
you.
2 weeks. Let's find out what other ways do they have for you to give them money.
Oh, they have lots of ways.
We'll see in 2 weeks.
So many ways. How many more amiibo do you want to sell me?
Oh man.
24?
Oh, amiibo are gonna be so back.
You're gonna get 24 amiibo? Yeah, this is the way for them to make
I need
money.
the Hot Pants Peach amiibo. I need the Zoot Suit.
Hatless and
King Boo
with hat Mario.
I need the
that
I need the cow amiibo.
I need a life-size cow
Yes, I
amiibo.
need 2 Hot Pants Peach actually. One to keep, one to have. You know.
I want to put my nightstand.
Okay, that's price. That's enough about that.
Wow.
More on that later, maybe. Pre-orders.
Pre-orders.
We were all sweating this in a big way.
We were getting ready to hit the button after this thing aired.
So, pre-orders outside of Nintendo are going live April 9th.
Yes.
So there's a week. It was not the mad rush.
After
oh
this
my God, the
direct, I need to
GameStop site's
click on all
down.
the
Oh my God, I'm putting in my address.
Yeah.
So there's a week lead up to that, and like all these sites had like enter in to get some info. Did you do this? Like put in your email address to get
to get a notification.
I don't know what that's actually going to do.
Whatever.
Probably useless.
Yeah, there were some retailers like a Best Buy was saying we will be opening at midnight on pre-order night, so you can go into the store
Physically?
Physically.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. So
all of them?
I didn't know how many of them, but there were several Best Buys that were like, you can come in at midnight on the 9th.
Interesting.
Maybe we should go as a gaff, as a video.
As a what? As a gaff?
Just to go to film
Goofs
it.
and gaffs? What are you talking about?
Goofs and gaffs. Just to film it. See what the vibe
I mean,
is.
it might not be a bad idea, honestly. So
Midnight
So
on.
that's the non-Nintendo pre-order situation.
Right.
There is the official Nintendo pre-orders, which did kind of start today, but were really buried in. Again, I don't know exactly where the first source of this was. It was just like, oh, you can sign up to show you're interested here.
Yeah.
Was this in the press? Like, where was this?
I don't know, but I got it from Discord, from our Discord community.
Right, but this is. I think this is kind of a major communication fail on their part.
Totally
of like,
a
we
failure.
actually do have a plan, but nobody's going to know when and where.
And we
it starts.
have no way of telling you this plan.
We have 19. We have a Nintendo today. We have a Twitter. We've got a this. We got a that. But we're not going to tell you. We're not going to put it on any of those.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Interesting. So you can sign up using your Nintendo account.
You can register your interest.
Register your interest. And you had to pick up front, do you want the Mario Kart bundle or just the system? What did you choose?
Mario Kart bundle.
See, I saw the fine print on that and I got scared. I was like, they're not going to have many of those. I will take the hit and pay the extra for Mario Kart if that means I can actually get a system. But guess what? I did something really bad happened to me.
Nefarious?
What?
You did something nefarious?
No, something bad happened to me.
What happened? Locked out?
So we created multiple accounts when we were trying to get into these hands-on events. I didn't realize that I was actually logged into the wrong account. And there were a few minutes that passed in between me registering with the bad account. And I was like, oh wait, that's actually the wrong account. So I don't know how I think they just the first come, first served. I don't know how many, again, no clue how many they have, no clue what the capacity is. It could be like the NSO playtest where it's like it filled up in 5 seconds flat. We don't know.
Yeah.
But our interest has been logged. But they do have all these stipulations of...
This is so interesting.
Yes.
The initial invites would be selected based on the following criteria. I think this is so interesting. So you have to have 3 things. You have to have an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. So you have to have been a member for at least 2 years continuously.
Yes.
And have an active membership on the day the pre-order is placed. You have to have a certain amount of playtime. So the fine print says, has spent a certain amount of time playing, purchased, and paid Nintendo Switch games, prioritizing those.
What is a certain amount?
How much playtime?
But what exactly is a certain amount?
I mean,
I'm sure we're fine, but what
I put 300 hours into Tears of the Kingdom. Does that count?
That was 2 years ago.
I haven't played my
Have you
Switch yet.
100%ed Donkey Kong Country Returns HD?
That's the one. That's the one I need to do.
That, yeah.
I did not play Princess Peach Showtime.
Uh-oh.
This is I'm falling apart already. Okay, so you have to log playtime
Yes.
and opt it into sharing this information with Nintendo. And you have to opt into receiving all promotional emails from Nintendo.
Did you do all that?
Yeah, I think I just had that.
I think
already.
I have.
Yeah.
But so the interesting thing here is that dummy account that I made definitely did not meet all these criteria, and I did not get any sort of an error. It was like, yeah, here, great, here you go. So I was like, oh, that's fine, scot-free. And then I looked at the little icon in the corner. I was like, wait, that's not my usual icon. It's like, oh no.
Did you log into the other one?
And I did it again.
Okay.
But again, I don't. Maybe I waited too long and they're all gone. I don't know.
No.
Who knows?
I don't know.
It seems like they were doing this a little bit differently in different. We're hearing
different
in the UK.
And Australia,
it was more of a we'll tell you if you are eligible. Basically, they'll contact you versus the other way around. It's like, hey, it looks like you meet this criteria. Do you want to pre-order? That maybe is a better way. I like that a lot better versus hopefully you do this right and hopefully you've got all the right boxes ticked.
But I registered my interest.
They don't care.
I'm so interested.
You're going to see it. Krista Yang? Nope. Put that in the no category.
This is another thing that you're going to just reject me on.
Put that into the jerk category.
Fine.
I don't think so.
I dare you.
Well, now you're going to be hanging out at a Best Buy at midnight and
Yeah.
the San Francisco streets at midnight either
There's
way.
no Best Buy in San Francisco.
We've got some options. Okay.
Wow. Moving right along
There was
here.
some other frequently asked questions. I'm looking to see if there's anything interesting here. No, not really. There's not really.
But the first batch of invitations for this goes out starting May 8th.
Yes, thank you. That was the important. So there's like a month difference between.
Better get some other pre-orders going.
You need to hedge your bets.
You better get.
You need to try and do as many of these other things as you can.
Absolutely. Don't just rely on this. I would not do that.
It's a month.
What are they doing for a
Why
month?
can't they time these to be closer together?
To research you? To see how many hours you
Right.
logged into Donkey Kong Country? Is that why? Because they need a month to do that? Are you kidding me?
I don't get that.
That's BS.
I don't understand that.
No, thank you.
I don't understand that.
That's weird.
So we've got some rocky weeks ahead.
See you at Best Buy at 11 o'clock on
Oh, man.
April 8th.
Oh, geez. Okay, other details that came out just randomly on a website in a
In a press release.
in a fine print.
In a thing, yeah.
Switch 1 Joy-Con and Pro controllers are compatible.
Yes.
With the Switch 2, good. That helps alleviate the pain again of, oh my gosh, I need to buy
all these things.
4 pairs of Joy-Cons at $90 a pop.
No one is buying that. No one.
There are some additional games that are getting free enhancements. These are not the Switch 2 Edition updates, but they are, I guess, lesser. And they didn't really detail what exactly the enhancements are, but it's a pretty good list. It's ARMS, Captain Toad, Mario Odyssey, Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, Clubhouse games, Zelda Link's Awakening, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, and Big Brain Academy Brain vs. Brain. Thank God Big Brain Academy is included there.
Thank God Game Builder Garage is included.
What do these guys love about Clubhouse games so much? I mean, I like Clubhouse games, but they really
on the airplane.
They really like Clubhouse games.
They want you to press the C button.
They really like Clubhouse
C
games.
for Clubhouse games.
Okay. You can share your screenshots and videos.
Oh, yes.
No
on the
longer
app.
through a series of QR codes.
That's cool.
I guess those will be fed right into the Switch app now. That's nice.
I like that. My PlayStation app does that, and I really like that.
Yes.
It's a very seamless experience.
That's a more modern way of doing it. Ask the developer. So they teased this.
Wait, you didn't look at the non-compatible Switch games.
Oh, why don't you talk about that then?
So there's something that came out that basically they've been doing these status of compatibility tests. And there are,
Oh my gosh.
a certain number of games that are just not compatible.
So in total, there's over 15,000 Switch games that they had to check. And it's a pretty small number of games that are not compatible or have issues.
Yes.
They have released a list, if you want to find that. I didn't bother to put that in here.
Yeah.
There were some games that I had heard of. I don't know. There wasn't really anything that I was like, oh, I can't believe
But
this.
what
How
is
dare
the
they?
what is the first party Nintendo game that's not compatible? That's in the
Well, it's
red.
probably like Ring Fit Adventure or Labo.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm not too worried about that.
All right.
That's an interesting little graph, though.
Yeah, it's
So
on,
they have
their
no
site.
issues found. Games can be started. Further tests are in progress. Game is playable with issues in certain parts. What kind of issues are we talking
I
about?
don't know. There's kind of a big group of that.
Those
Oh,
are,
no, that's a
those
different
are
color.
almost all partner games, though.
Yeah, and then
Wait,
there's.
what is that? This shade of blue, or is that shade of blue?
I can't.
Is
I
that
know.
that?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is
Okay.
it this,
Maybe
or that?
choose
that?
a different color than blue.
Issues were found during startup. A certain number.
What does
of-
that mean?
I don't know.
Huh.
They can't start it up. It doesn't work. Okay, like.
Well, no, it starts up, but there's an issue.
What's the issue?
Oh, issues were found during. Okay, but then there's just not compatible at all. I don't know. I wouldn't sweat this. I think it's going to be fun. Ask the developer. They teased this in the direct. It's the same 3 guys that are doing this. It's very like 4 parts. As I told you, about half of those
power read?
were people laughing and footnotes
Okay.
of like, oh, Tears of the Kingdom is a Nintendo Switch video game released in 2023.
We don't need this. Okay.
We knew
whatever.
that. I'll just go through some of the high points here. They talked about how this trio of leads came together to really kind of officially get the project going in 2019, but everybody had been kind of working well in advance of that, getting some ideas. So that's interesting.
Yeah. It's been a while. Been many years.
They talked about how previous Nintendo hardware kind of focused on more of a gimmick as a central concept, like Wii with motion controls. And they were like, no, actually, we just wanted to improve the processing power because that's actually the best way to empower developers to create what they wanted. They used some examples of like Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like, due to the processing power, we simply could not do that.
Right.
Or the open world of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Not possible on Nintendo
Now it's
Switch.
possible, yeah.
And they're like, look, the Switch has it's got motion controls, it's got all these things. All these developers really need is just more horsepower.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting and somewhat un-Nintendo thing to just kind of lay out bare it. And there is a copy, they're like, but don't get us wrong, we might still come up with something wacky in the future, but just not this time.
It is kind of interesting how they said this, but yet spent so much time on that chat button.
We're going to get to that because they spent a lot of time
That's
talking about
basically the opposite of what they're saying here.
Yes.
You
yes.
know?
They said that the battery capacity is 1.2x that of Nintendo Switch. I think I saw somewhere else it's like 4 to 6 hours, which is
it's fine.
It's fine. It's
There
fine.
is a page that is all tech specs for this that Nintendo put out.
Oh, did you see anything interesting there?
It's not
No.
not that interesting, but if you need to know, they do have an official tech specs.
Okay. They said this was interesting. They doubt that most people will need an SD card at launch.
All right.
I guess they're not talking about people who are going to be transferring
Their entire library.
hundreds and hundreds of games like we are.
Yeah.
I guess we are not most people in that case.
Really?
But
What are y'all doing?
we have a lot of games.
Yeah, but still.
We have a lot of games, which is good because those SD cards are expensive. Did you look at some of the prices of
I
those?
thought you bought me one.
I didn't do that.
Can you please?
You can buy it yourself.
No, buy on the corporate.
It's
account.
expensive. Maybe we don't need it at launch. 256 gigs.
All right.
Maybe we don't need it. Yeah, they were like getting close to like $100 for one of these cards.
So now I have to pay $80 for Mario Kart, $450.
I mean, Mario Kart's going to look cheap once you buy this
and a $100 SD
card with a little star on it. Yeah.
We're running out of money really fast.
Patreon.com/KitchenKrysta. Check it out.
Oh no.
They said, you'll appreciate this.
Okay.
They talked about how the system is bigger,
Yeah.
and they found employees with small hands to
Oh,
try
good.
out their prototypes to make
That
sure
little
that
guy.
it felt right. But I think this is nice because you talked about the Steam
Baby
Deck.
hands.
You just got a Steam Deck. You're scared of the Steam Deck because it's so big.
I can't really take that to go on the go because it's pretty big, the Steam Deck. So,
Is it that it's big or it's kind of like cumbersome to hold?
Yeah, cumbersome to hold.
Because this, I mean, frankly, like this looks pretty big
yeah, we'll
size-wise.
see.
So
I need to hold it. To
yeah,
be able
we'll
to
need to
really
get a report from somebody. But I think that's a nice touch. They talked about the mouse controls and said that this was actually like a really low cost addition because what's happening in the world of mouses? Nothing.
Yeah.
And they pointed out this is a very Nintendo-like thing to do
Yeah,
is to
it
find
is.
some old technology and find a new use for it. Game chat. They talked about this so much. They are so into this. And they were
okay.
they're like, we have just given every developer this free tool that they don't have to worry about, that just click integrates into their game that everybody can use. We'll see if that's the case. But they talked about how this is an idea that came about during the pandemic.
I see.
Which is really interesting. Of, hey...
Well, there you go. You had a need during the pandemic.
Hey, we were all stuck on Zoom, or people were doing these play sessions, and they kind of found like these, you know, one-off solutions, like, oh, we're doing Zoom or we're doing Discord. Now it's like, we just built it into the system. So it's more of a native way of doing it. Interesting. Really interesting insight there.
Interesting, but not really needed.
No, but interesting.
Okay.
They said that the Switch 2 does not contain any of the original Switch hardware, so they had to create some new tech to enable the backwards compatibility.
Okay.
They're like, it's kind of somewhere in between having the native hardware and doing emulation. And they kind of stopped short of that. So it sounds like that sounds like kind of a dicey proposition. So I'm kind of surprised that on that chart, that many games actually ran without issues.
That's right. That's probably why they were doing these tests.
And who knows? I mean, there may still have had to have been some work that they were doing
to,
on
like,
a game-by-game basis.
Make sure it works.
Seems
That's
like
a lot of work.
Big undertaking, my gosh.
Yeah.
And then, not finally, buried in here, you can get a look at the new Switch eShop.
Yes.
So they said that the eShop has been greatly improved and runs smoothly even when there are a large number of games.
Nice.
And they have a short video where you can see it. Let's look at this. They have categories: featured titles, product search, find games for you, wish list.
Game finds for you.
Game finds for you. Deals, bestsellers, recent releases coming soon.
I mean, that's pretty similar to what the old eShop had.
Look at this game finds for you. So we've got recommendations. Games will be recommended based on your preferences. Your finds will be refreshed every Saturday. So Steam has something like this where it's like, we just pulled a random 15 games based on what you have, and maybe you'll like these. So, okay. That's fine.
As long as it's faster.
Yeah. And then finally, they said they did consider the Super Switch name for this, but because the Super NES did not have backwards compatibility,
they couldn't do it.
Take that, Super NES.
They really overthought
Catching strays.
Really, like,
who would have thought,
this.
like, oh, well, surely just like the Super NES, it must not be backwards compatible.
I know, it's been like 30 years. I think we're good.
So they settled on Switch 2. Maybe it's for the best.
Yeah.
Here is a look at the system interface, which you could have fooled me.
It looks exactly
like
the
it.
Switch interface.
So what do we have? Oh, so on the bottom, let's look at this.
C.
The NSO button, the C button. What do you think this other, like notes?
Notes? Oh boy, here's the Excel.
What do you think that is?
Excel grid.
I don't know what that is. eShop, screenshots. This must be like the download play.
The download play.
Controllers, SD
card.
Is that it? Or is that
the game cards?
Could that be the virtual game cards?
Virtual
maybe.
Game cards, yeah.
Brightness?
Settings. No, settings.
You think this little sun is
yeah,
settings?
That's settings.
Oh, it's not a. Is that a gear or is that a sun?
It's a gear.
You can work on that gear. And then power. That's my note. Work on the gear.
Oh boy.
Are you disappointed by this?
The UI?
Yes. Themes? There's no themes.
There's no themes, there's no folders.
So I'm not buying it.
So clearly I'm not buying it. Not that it cost, $500. I'm definitely not buying it. No, I am fine.
I'm completely fine with this
good.
too.
Like,
I'm
it's
completely
whatever.
fine. Maybe the new power can be used towards themes and folders. I'm just saying. So that's everything that we do know.
There's probably stuff that we missed. There's so much information out there.
Check. This was as of 11:30 on Wednesday morning Pacific time.
What is that?
I'm doing my watch like Reggie. Yokai Watch Reggie. Check the time. So yeah, there probably is more stuff. And again, tomorrow Treehouse Live starts. They've already teased. There's more trailers coming. It's an unprecedented amount of information for them to convey. So on one hand, I do have sympathy for the challenge, but on the other hand, there is some sloppiness here.
Yes, I agree. I think that it is just a lot to comb through and make decisions on what goes where. But there should have been a bit more thinking around, what is the important information that people definitely need to know. Like pre-orders.
That's the one that
big.
That's the one that I really can't.
Especially when everyone's been talking about how they're really scared of these being a mess. Mr. Furukawa has gone on to say, we have these plans to combat the scalpers, yada yada. So if you've come out to say this, that means you're thinking about it, yet you don't put this important information in a place that's easily accessible
Yes.
to people. So that seems sloppy to me. These kinds of things
Is
seem
the
sloppy.
purposeful omission of this pricing details?
It's a little
Is
nefarious.
it ethically shady?
Yes,
Is it ethically nefarious?
it is. It is ethically nefarious. I mean, I
Why?
know,
Tell us why.
I know exactly what they're doing.
Explain why.
They do want you to be very focused on the excitement of the announcements during that direct.
Right.
The direct is supposed to be this fun thing. Don't worry about whether or not you can afford this. You know, right now, just look at how cool Mario
Yes.
Kart looks. Look at how amazing Donkey Kong is going to be. How much fun you're going to have. But I think it's a little shady because there are people out there that cannot afford this.
Sony had the cojones in 2000 whatever to say $599 get a second job, you cheap you cheap loser. they had the cojones to say it.
But they had it in their announcement video.
Had what?
The price, Sony.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm. Oh, okay,
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying.
So this is like I don't know, like, who are they fooling?
Right.
Because nobody's buying this. I don't know how much this costs, but I'm just buying it. Yes.
Or it's like, I will buy this at any price.
Right, everybody's
Who's
gonna-
thinking that?
that's
Unless
the
you're, like,
next thing
really rich.
everybody's going to think. Oh, how much is it? And then they're going to find out. They're going to go, oh.
And then they're gonna think, well, okay, fine, it's expensive, but I still want it. How do I get it?
And then you're kind of annoyed. It's like, well, why didn't you just tell me?
Yeah.
So who are you actually? Who's the joke on actually?
Right. This doesn't feel right to me.
It's kind of a. I don't think it works the way they
And
thought.
it's not nice to feel that way. Like, it's not fun to, like, get the big high and then feel really let down.
Yeah.
And again, there are people out there that literally cannot afford this.
True.
They are priced out of this, and that sucks. You just saw, like, this game that you're gonna, you know, on paper you love, like, and you think to yourself, like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting as a lifelong Nintendo fan, but then you see the price of both the game and the hardware, and you're like, I can't afford this. I can't buy this at launch. I need to save up a significant amount of money to be able to get this. Like, I can't get, you know, I'm priced out of this experience, and that's just not. It's not very nice to do that to somebody, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, I understand what. I mean, it also doubly shows how worried they were about it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just try and hide this.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
That just exactly.
I do wonder how did every other region handle this. We don't know that.
Right.
We were very focused on the information for our market.
for
Like
the
in
US
Japan and Europe, how was the price presented?
Right.
Was it in the Japanese version of the direct? I don't know.
Yeah. Someone tell us.
Yeah.
In the comments if you saw another stream and you got a different.
You'd have to wake up at 4 a.m. to figure that out.
Right. Or stay up all night long.
Right.
But yeah, it did not feel good. Again, this thing that definitely happened. You come off of a very, you know, generally positive Nintendo Direct with people being happy about the games that they saw generally. Of course, there are games that people didn't get that they wanted, as usual. And then the next batch of headlines of conversation is everyone's sort of disappointment at the price, sticker shock at certain prices. So you do have this, like, sort of glaring high and low, like, right away in the mix of all the conversations. So I don't know if this strategy works, this kind of bury this under the rug strategy. Yeah.
Okay. So there is still a lot, even after all of that we still don't know. So let's go through our list here. The pricing for the Switch Edition games. Interesting that we don't know this.
Worried about this.
Because it seems like, again, something like that Mario Party expansion. It's like that's
basically like true paid DLC.
That's more game development there. So I could see that being like $20 to $30.
Yeah, that's paid DLC. That's like in that realm.
Right.
Versus the graphical enhancement stuff that we were talking about.
And then, like, which of these eventually fall into the free for NSO bucket versus no, you still have to buy this?
That's going to be confusing.
I don't know.
I think they omitted that.
It's kind of clunky to not have the full story on this, though.
Yeah, it's very clunky, but I think that
because somebody could see the Zelda one and be like, oh, these are all free. I don't think that's the case.
No.
Because I have NSO. I don't think that's the case. So you kind of left the door open for somebody to make that false assumption.
Right, right. And I think it's confusing by nature because they have this kind of varied approach. Like some games have these big sort of DLC-esque enhancements, like a Mario Party, like the Kirby
Right.
Forgotten Land stuff. Like it's true, like new game content, and that is going to cost money versus what you get for, as a graphical enhancement. So I think that's by nature very confusing, and so they didn't want to like go there right now. But eventually they're going to have to go there because they're going to tell people how much they need to pay for these things.
Right.
And that's just going to add another cycle of kind of confusion and perhaps, people getting upset.
Yeah.
People then bringing back the price discussion again. It's like, oh gosh, now you're sort of nickel and diming me for these other things, and all these games are now, so expensive, and now I already paid $60 for Mario Party. Now you're asking me to pay $30 more for this enhanced version. So basically I've paid, almost $100 for Mario Party. What the heck? Like that's the kind of story you start to get.
It's maybe $100 too many. Additional UI, so we saw the system screen, we saw the eShop, but there's a lot of other little things. I imagine they're going to show that off in the Treehouse Live to some capacity.
Sure.
This is the big one, this next one. Where was Microsoft?
Where's Phil?
Where was Microsoft?
Yeah.
So
Tony Hawk.
Yes. I feel like they maybe worked out a deal where it's like the amount of stuff that you're bringing is so much, we actually need to do something dedicated just for this.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I was thinking, like, when might that happen?
So they got Mario Kart Direct is April 17th.
Yes. So they have Doom the Dark Ages, people have said, that's May 15th.
Yes.
So you can't really wait too long to do it.
I wonder if they'll do another third-party Direct.
So I think
very shortly, early May.
I think there's going to be more information beyond what we even know now.
I think so too.
Because there's just so much.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a dedicated third-party Direct, maybe even an indie world, like a third-party indie world.
And Microsoft was maybe said, like, look, keep us out of that big one because we need to be a bigger story of that. Like, for the amount of stuff that we're bringing, for the way that we're supporting this, like, we need to do it a different way.
Then that one will be like a
we don't want to get caught up in your Mario Kart nonsense. And maybe that can be, or who knows, maybe we're just completely coping ourselves here. Although I think it will be.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
I do think they got another couple of Directs between now and launch. I do think they have to. There's a lot of stuff they still need to tell us. I mean, they already announced the Mario Kart one, but I do think third party is totally on the table.
Yeah.
There's going to be more on the indie games that's on the table. Like I do think that can happen before. In that May time.
They've got to tear some of this stuff out.
Yeah.
More info about the mouse, and you were looking specifically for information on like using it on different surfaces.
Yeah, like what is the setup? Like what they are showing this picture-in-picture of the mouse functionality with certain.
It was always
games.
On a table.
It seemed to be. It was like a white
hand on a white table.
Background.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was one screenshot that I found where one of the devs had it on his hand.
As if he was using it?
Yes.
Oh.
From the Direct that I pulled. I will leave it here for you to look at. You tell me what you think, viewers. But beyond that, we had a lot of questions about, this mouse seems cool. They did demo some of that for certain games, Metroid, for example, or Civ. But what are the other ways you can use this if you're like playing on the couch? Like what is that? We didn't get that answer.
I think that some of that information is coming soon, probably coming this week through a number of different ways.
Yeah.
I kind of expected maybe a little bit more out of the mouse, where
so focused on that chat and not as focused on the mouse, which was kind of the opposite
so what do we
of what
have
I
that uses
wanted.
the mouse? The little pack-in game that has it. Metroid has it.
The wheelchair basketball.
That one has it. Some third parties. Civ has it.
Yeah.
But like Mario Kart didn't. I mean, maybe we'll find out in the Direct. Like, oh yeah, you can do some little thing with the mouse. Just seemed like there would be more interest in doing something unique with it.
Yeah. But again, it seemed like they're so hyper focused on the
much more of a focus on the C button.
on that chat stuff versus the control scheme of the mouse.
Right, interesting.
Which was kind of the opposite of what I wanted, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we'll see if that continues to be a misread from our perspective.
Right.
Who is developing Donkey Kong Bonanza? I've seen a lot of people assuming that it is the Tokyo team that did Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, EAD Tokyo.
I don't want to assume anything.
Are they going to tell us? Is this a big secret again? Here we go.
Is if that team was making, shouldn't that by default be your big holiday game? If that team of that quality is making that game, shouldn't that be coming out in October? I don't know. It very well could be. It certainly had some of the same visual look elements to it.
But I mean, it could be them giving direction to some other.
I don't know.
Developers.
But that's a segue to our next, which is what is the big holiday game?
Right, because we expected sort of that final game in that direct to be the big holiday game.
Yes.
But Donkey Kong's coming out in July, summer.
And I don't think it's the Hyrule Warriors game.
No.
I mean, it sounds like they don't even have confidence that that's coming out this year.
It said winter, so there's no confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
So there has to be some other big October.
There's Pokemon.
There's Pokemon. Yeah.
There's Pokemon.
But by being a non-native Switch 2 game, it's kind of like downgraded slightly.
Oh yeah, totally. And it's already kind of facing some challenges in terms of graphics and whatever.
So that's a big remaining question.
Yeah.
And then just games in general. So they did not do the thing like the original Switch 1 reveal, where it's like, here's the roadmap for the next 9 months. They didn't do that.
Right.
And either they don't have that kind of a lineup, possible, or they're choosing to do what we were just saying, which is we're going to chunk it out into these other announcements. We can build more hype by slowly revealing more and more of the lineup as we go along.
Just every week there will be a direct.
And if that's the case, that's fine. Like that is exciting. That is cool. I mean, we will have plenty to play right off the bat. Like we can grouse about the launch line, but we played Mario Kart.
We're gonna be Mario Kart.
We're gonna be doing Mario Kart
for like months.
We're gonna be driving down the ditch and the dark alleys in Mario Kart and
pressing that C button,
doing jumping
away.
off a wall as Monopoly Man King Boo and taking screenshots of Hot Pants Daisy and Peach and I mean
who else? Who knows that? Who else? Yeah.
So we graded the direct.
Yeah.
But grade the reveal overall.
Yeah.
Everything that happened
today, or as of 11:35 a.m.
Yes.
Pacific time. I would give them a B-. A little sloppy in some areas.
Yeah.
Some confusion on key things. I did not like the non-transparency about price. I think that misread that. They're kind of edging close to a C on that, but I'll give them a B- because that direction is still really strong.
So B- overall.
Yeah, I do think that they have some issues with this announcement overall that could have been cleaner. And yeah, just if you're going to charge somebody this much for something, just put it out there. Just put it out there. Be honest.
Yeah.
Be transparent.
People will find information. Don't run and try and hide from it.
And don't make people feel stupid about it. Like don't try to say like, oh, you're so dumb, you're not gonna know or want to research this.
You're just gonna blindly throw money at it.
You're gonna blindly throw money at me. You're an idiot.
Right.
Basically is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which I think it's mean. Don't do that.
I'll go B. I'll be a little bit more charitable.
All right.
Because I am really excited. Mostly for Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. I'm truly
excited.
And for the possibility of the upgraded Switch games. And what that could bring.
Yes.
That was really... So those are three things that I'm coming away really excited for.
And I'm also really excited. Like so many of my friends texted me after the Direct and was like, I can't wait to play Elden Ring on Switch 2. I haven't played this game. I can't wait to play X third-party game on a Switch. Because a lot of people don't do what we do. They don't have all three things. So I'm excited for them to experience some of my favorite, games that I've played over the last couple of years on a system that they are going to get. So that's really cool, That's really, really exciting.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, that they already have some headwinds from, let's say this is day one, that the original Switch did not have on day one. The path is a little tougher.
And you kind of saw that coming. They're always going to be facing that. It's just how much and how will they steer the ship around it, you know? And I'm very confident that they will kind of like continue to share more information. They're going to have more stuff that comes out that will answer some of these questions that are open that we have. You know, they're going to continue doing that. So hopefully that means these kind of open issues get resolved in the coming weeks and months. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But they're off to the races now, I suppose.
So are we going to Summer Game Fest?
Stop asking me. I'm not going to answer you in this video.
I want a snap reaction to this.
Why?
I want to know.
I'm not going to answer
You might be waiting for a parcel that includes a Switch 2 from the My Nintendo store.
You're not going to get accepted
I don't
because
know.
you didn't play 387 hours of Tears of the Kingdom. You didn't get 1,000 Korok seeds. So
What if that was the criteria?
You've been rejected.
And you had no way of knowing. Only these enlightened souls who got every Korok in both games are getting this thing.
Both games?
Both games.
Oh,
Because that's how many we've got. Amazing. We are going to be back tomorrow with another video.
We are. I'm so excited about this.
We will not jinx ourselves by saying everything, but we hope to have a guest who has some unique perspectives on the Switch 2 to enlighten us more.
Yes.
Maybe we'll have some
Maybe
fresh
this person can answer
information.
some additional questions.
That would be amazing. So hopefully that does not fall through. Either way, we will have a video tomorrow with more on the Switch 2.
More stuff.
Yes. Wow.
Wow. I have now been awake for how many hours? I've now been videoing for how many
Well, how
hours?
long is a day for you?
It doesn't start at 5 a.m.
It's still a normal day.
Let me tell you that much.
In the meantime, you can check us out at patreon.com/KitandKrysta, where for just a few dollars a month, we've got awesome stuff like exclusive content, a wonderful... If you want to go find somewhere to talk about a Switch 2, our Discord is the place to be.
Chock full of information,
Yes. That's where we were getting a lot of this information.
Where I'm getting stuff from is from them.
People who can answer a question.
Yes.
People who can give you information. People want to talk about this
stuff. We got people in the Discord that's putting up a pre-order guide. I mean, there's just...
Yes. I'm going to need to read that.
Yeah. And just the most positive place to everyone's just, share the excitement. We're all kind of enjoying this moment together, which is awesome.
Right.
We're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Threads.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can please subscribe to this channel, give this podcast a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And if you're listening on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can also subscribe, give the podcast a 5-star rating, and leave a written review, if you please. These are all things that really help us a lot.
Awesome. Okay, let's wrap this episode up by shouting out some of our wonderful Patreon community members with our final boss, Aaron Hash. Aaron Hash stayed up all night.
I saw that, yes. Pulling a semi-all-nighter.
He said, if you can't sleep and you need someone to talk to, I'm here. Which was...
Could you sleep last night?
I did sleep last night.
I slept great last night.
Yeah, I went to bed at like 10. And
That's roughly when I went to sleep,
roughly,
too. Yes.
Approximately.
Yeah.
But way to go. What a great boss Aaron Hash is, just showing all the support on an exciting, busy day for us.
Yeah.
Superstars. Here we go. Ben Eichhorn.
Mara Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up, Underscore, who got a pre-order already.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. You are not up to date on the Discord.
Oh, VGM Life.
Laying the Hero of Winds.
Angela Bycroft.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LaBeouf.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Ulf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
Simon.
Krashuri.
Master Discord.
Ash.
Ajay Kunlas.
40 Gig.
Travis Torline.
Echo Ladare.
That's So Linnell.
MSM Poke Gamer.
And Cameron.
Welcome, Cameron. A new superstar. Wonderful to see.
Yeah, so Shane Underscore lives in Australia. So they have some different pre-order systems things happening.
Different and better.
Apparently.
Yes.
But he's very excited to have gotten a pre-order. Okay, One Up Club. A. Ron Burgundy.
Ale Alejandro.
Andy Peachy.
Andy Robinson.
Angel Aid.
Aristu.
Astro Dev.
Awesome 46.
Axel.
Barnstorm.
Bates.
Benji B.
Big and Gamer with a Y.
Brandon Kavapel.
Brent Dennison.
Brovac Novak.
Bruce Dash.
Bucky Flores.
Shadir.
Chelly Squirrel.
Crispy Saurus.
Chris Galvin.
Christopher Lay.
Cosmic Titan 718.
Captain Alex.
C Roper 17.
Daglio.
Dallas E.
Daniel Phillips.
Dachshund.
Debbie P.
Doinko.
Dre.
Dude Dad Life Trilek.
Eccentric Tony.
Elite Peach.
Sparks 50.
Fairbound.
Fernie and Just Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Funky Hand.
Gamer likes anime.
Garf the Wolf.
Gartooth.
Gin Wolf.
Guilty Phoenix 42.
Handheld Gamer.
Happy Sloth.
I may have made a mistake.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jack Hoving.
Jameson Eisenberg.
Joe Encarnacion.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger.
Jay Wolf.
Callan CPU 57.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Kristarati Kid.
Christopia Party with me.
Cal Gamer Berry Rookie.
Kyle 325.
Cal Kretzer.
Kyle R. Smith.
Lazy Cat for Coffee.
Leviahu.
Lex.
Lightwood.
Link 9898.
Hello Mikey.
Linko.
Light Latte.
Lit.
Lucas Pico.
Luigi 53.
Luna B.
Lynn.
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G plus Callie Marie.
Mario Man 392.
Mark S.
Marky Man 64.
Maverick Nate.
Mecha Dragon 101.
Megan.
May plus Leon.
Michael Mazer.
Michael Wong.
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07.
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
Mytran.
Namey.
Nasir.
Naif E.
Ninja 11.
Noah-san.
Pangy.
Paper Boat.
Patrice Millette.
Paul.
Paul Gale Network.
Pokey Digifan 20.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Punky.
Rain Tech.
R. Burns.
Record Rumble.
Rob M.
Rob O.
Romsky 113.
Rocks.
Ryan Hayes 521.
Ryan Haas.
Ryanetta.
Sebastiano Garais.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinru.
Schmiggles.
Slowbro.
Snaggle.
Spacey Poo.
Spicy Munchkin.
Starman DX.
Steel Citron.
Pseudo Priest.
Tales of Link.
Tandem.
Tay 120 and 64.
Teal Fox 64.
The Keggers.
The Quiet One.
The Shark Among Men.
Tom's Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Torchy.
Totally Joe Ed.
Totomaru.
Trajawi.
Trev Tendo 88.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tusku.
Tyler Guys.
Uncle Jungle.
Victor MK.
Video Game Stupid.
Fidgmictor.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
WG Grizzy.
YUYU.
Wiki Davies.
Zelgaroth.
Zapatty.
Zero Link.
And Zroid.
There you go.
Okay. We are going to go now.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow.
For more stuff.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.